Giant dogs are cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I see. Now that I could get behind. I'm thinking about it, like a Mastiff.
Yeah.
See, those dogs, when I think about it, okay, there's two things that would go wrong. Is the amount of food they need to eat, and then the amount of shit that they would shit. Right?
That is true.
Like, it would be all... Because when I pick up my dog's poop right now, it's not that bad.
Yeah.
It's just like a simple act.
Yeah.
But when it's a big dog...
That's 2 bags.
That's big bags.
Yeah, as a bigger dog myself, those are concerns. Those are valid concerns.
That's what I'm saying. And
so, like... a lot more food, a lot more toilet bowl cleaner.
Yeah, a lot more everything.
A lot more everything.
It's like 3 dogs. It's like if you had that one dog times 3.
Yeah.
Essentially.
Yeah. But then you've got the best cuddle buddy on the planet, though, too.
That's true. When I was younger,
on top of you.
I had a pit bull that laid in between my legs when I went to bed. Margot does that sometimes now.
Margot.
The kitty cat here. And the animals are making themselves involved on Ruse Radio episode 145, folks.
Let's go.
Happy to have you here, sir. 145. That's a good number.
That's a good number.
That's a good number. I feel like numerology and numbers, it is kind of fun. It's kind of fun to think numbers mean things sometimes. Like angel numbers.
Right, yeah, I've heard about that, yeah.
Those are fun.
Yeah.
I like them.
What's the whole thing about behind angel numbers? Like...
I don't know how it starts, but I know that the idea is that because it's like 111, 222, 333, the fact that it's these numbers in a row means something, and I think each one of those numbers has a different meaning.
Is that how they diagnose autism these days? It's just
you're a 444.
You're a 444.
You're a 444 autist.
Yeah,
which is good.
Yeah, on the angel
better
scale.
than 888. Actually,
you're our little angel. That's why they're angel numbers.
You're my little angel.
You're my little angel. You're a 111, barely verbal.
But it means something. You know, it's fun to think of 69. When I had episode 69, nice. I was very happy to tell the guest, and he was happy about it too. He
I'm
was
sure.
Like,
Who was the
69?
guest?
Jemmy Hazeman.
Jemmy Hazeman.
Yeah, he's like everybody loves Jemmy Hazeman. If you don't know who he is, you're a loser.
Yeah, I'm a fucking loser.
Yeah.
But can I swear on here? I guess I should have asked.
No,
that
well, I think I said shit like 30 seconds in.
Oh, perfect. Okay.
I think I fucked that up already.
God damn.
Sometimes I don't know what the rules are on YouTube. They actually just changed it. I think it used to be 2 minutes in, and then now you can't swear. Like you had to wait 2 minutes or else you're demonetized.
Gotcha.
And then it became like 30 seconds, I think. So if you say fuck like 10 seconds into a video, that's inappropropriate. But if you say 40 seconds.
Fuck, now we're fine because we're already past 10 seconds.
Exactly. Yeah. I don't get it. I don't even, I don't know if I don't know how smoking works because people smoke weed on YouTube.
Yeah.
But also like you can't smoke weed on other things.
Yeah. And there's like some people that like cut around the smoking weed. Like it'll cut to them right after they just hit a hit and they're already passing it, so you don't see the actual weed.
Exactly.
Yeah, tricky editing.
What are the rules?
Yeah, can I do heroin or not?
I think you should be able to.
I think I should be able to shoot up on YouTube.
You should be able to do everything. In 2008 YouTube, you could have shot up on YouTube.
In 2008, you could kill a hooker on YouTube.
And it'd be like, yo,
look at this. And then you'd watch a video of someone jumping off a roof into a pool.
That's my America.
Yeah, that's my America right
That's
there.
my
That was pre-ads on YouTube. I remember pre-ads on YouTube. Remember that?
Don't even get me started.
The golden days.
I remember when it was one ad and not 2.
Yeah.
Dude, when they switched to 2 ads, I was like, it made me feel like, okay, I have a dad who like would yell at the TV when commercials came on.
Yeah.
And when I saw him do that, I would always think like, okay, that's a little ridiculous. Like you can change the channel. Like there's options here. Like he would switch through the channels and he'd be like, everything's fucking commercials.
Yeah.
And he'd be like, dude, you got to calm down a little bit. You're just stressing yourself out over nothing. But I understand him when I see these 2 YouTube ads instead of 1. I'm like, dude, everything's fucking commercials now.
Yeah, I get 100%. I have those days where I'm like, can I just not be advertised to for 5 fucking seconds, please?
Yeah.
Like YouTube, Spotify, I turn on the radio, I watch fucking Hulu or something, Peacock.
Streaming services.
Just hitting you with ads now.
Well, that's crazy. Even streaming services, they weren't at first a whole ad. Like at first you didn't have to pay for a separate thing.
Yeah.
Okay, so what drove me crazy with that is like, I get it with shows. Okay, whatever. Shows have commercial breaks and this and that.
Yeah.
When you watch a movie on TV, it's okay because you are watching it on TV. You're going to get a TV edit. They can't show everything. And there's got to be commercials. Yeah. So it's fine. Like, that 4-hour movie is now 7.5 hours.
Yeah, we were born into that system.
It's fine.
Already.
That stuff makes sense because you can still watch the movie by itself.
Yeah.
But when you start throwing ads in the middle of the movie on a streaming service that somebody's already paying for, that's completely different.
I'm already paying a base fee for this. And like that was the entire point of us going to streaming, was that you didn't have to watch these ads. You could just watch this show or whatever anytime you want. That's what binge watching was I can just cram out a whole season of this without ever being advertised to.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now I want to listen to a podcast and I'm hearing about Blue Chew 5 times a day.
At least with those YouTube ads, you can skip past them. See, if I can just do. What's annoying is like when I have it playing in the background and it's like, okay, well now I gotta fucking go over to my phone.
Yeah.
But at least if it's in the video and you can just go past, that's cool. But when it's like unskippable, because that's the other thing about YouTube. It used to be like every single one you could skip within 5 seconds at first. And then it became, now it's a 15-second ad that you can't skip. And now it's 2 15-second ads sometimes that you can't skip.
And then you've got those plus the product placement in the video itself now.
Yeah.
Because if you're watching a podcast, they're going to have a whole 60 seconds of their own ads plus the 2 15-second ones you're watching.
Yeah.
It's a nightmare. It's a capitalist nightmare.
Speaking of that, this podcast is sponsored by Pepsi.
You gotta do the do.
Yeah, you gotta do the
Make sure you do the do.
Dude, I like it and I don't like it at the same time.
Exactly.
I do like that, like, if a podcast is big enough, you can just get sponsored by Mountain Dew. Yeah. I mean, that is cool.
Yeah, that happened for the Nate Lamb podcast.
Really?
Yeah, they weren't even like that big yet, and they got a Mountain Dew sponsorship. It was crazy.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, Mountain Dew.
Mountain Dew.
I'm actually serious. Yeah. I think you should do the do.
I definitely should do it. If you're gonna do anything, don't do drugs. Do the do.
It's a good ad.
You know, but sometimes vodka in your Mountain Dew is pretty good.
Sometimes.
Yeah.
I'm not recommending that. I'm not saying you have to do that. But sometimes that's all right.
That is a white trash move that we grew up doing. Did you ever do the vodka with the Mountain Dew?
Let me think about it. The vodka with the Mountain Dew. No.
Yeah.
No. I did have a Jaeger bomb. And what is that? Okay. Red Bull and something
Red
else?
Bull and Jaeger.
That's like that's the first thing I ever had like that. But
yeah, we would do like
I gotta turn my volume down.
Yeah, it looks like it's clipping a little bit. But.
No idea. It was so hot.
So hot.
I'm hot as hell right now. But anyway, were you gonna say something about Jaeger bomb?
Oh, I was just gonna say the move growing up in West Michigan was UV Blue and Mountain Dew.
UV Blue and Mountain Dew. Yo, that's got a good. That can't be the name. There had to be a cooler name than that.
A cooler name for the drink itself?
Yeah, like you didn't just call it UV Blue and Mountain Dew. It had to be like Mountain Blue, Mountain UV Dew.
Yeah, I think it was just called premarital hand jobs. I think that's usually what we did afterwards.
Hell yeah. Mountain Dew. See, that type of shit jacks you up. That's what's so crazy about like alcohol and energy drinks.
Oh, yeah.
My stepdad, I think it's always Red Bull and vodka. I think that's what it always is.
That's a good move.
It's just like that's his go-to.
It's a speedball in a can.
But dude, like you do that shit at 11 p.m. when you're going to bed at midnight. That's crazy.
Trying to have some wild dreams.
What the fuck is your life at that point?
Yeah.
You know? But that's like how it gets. I bet it is like a speedball.
Yeah. Yeah. 100%.
Gotta be.
Yeah. Like some people, that's just the only way they can go to bed.
I can't really fuck with that. It scares me. Actually, kind of.
What if I have a heart attack in my sleep?
Yes, or just while awake.
Yeah,
like, dude,
that's true.
I already consume enough caffeine. Like, I honestly, I can't even do energy drinks anymore now because they just kind of scare me in general.
Yeah.
Like, dude, do I need it? Probably not.
Yeah, I can promise you, if I haven't had a heart attack yet, you're doing fine. So
yes.
So you can party as much as you want to, and then once I die, that's when you should probably get your shit together.
You'd be like, shit,
Cam's dead. All right, I gotta lay off the Red Bulls.
Warn me. Yeah. All right. Well, I'll keep an eye on you.
I'll be the comedy scenes. You know what's a canary? Canary in the coal mine. Once I'm dead, everyone's got to chill out for a little bit.
Well, in that case, let's hope Cam lasts for many, many, many more years because we got some more mind blowers to bring into this building. All kinds of mind-blowing individuals here in Chicago, and in that comedy scene in particular. I think Cam's one of them. I think this guy you're watching right now in this show is a professional mind-blower, and I love bringing people in, these professional mind-blowers, these people who blow minds over and over and over again, and I just want to keep doing it forever. So if you guys want to see me do that, one way you can support it is by grabbing yourself a professional mind-blower t-shirt. We're selling them for $25. We got smalls, we got mediums, we got larges, and we can make more sizes if you so please. That $25 includes shipping, okay? So it's just a flat fee, just $25, and you get yourself one of these bad boys. You get to know you're supporting this show, and for real, I love doing it. I think you can blow minds. I think we all can blow minds in our own way. It's one reason I love doing this, bringing people in and getting to know them, because everybody's got their own way of thinking, their own framework of reality that creates that mind-blowing nature, that mind-blowing whatever it is that they go make. Whatever you do is going to be incredibly unique because you yourself are incredibly unique. So seriously, embrace your mind-blowingness. Grab yourself a shirt and look in the mirror and say, yes, that's me. That's who I am. Because for real, that's who you are. And if you want to support this show, but you don't want to get one of these professional mind blower t-shirts, well, don't worry. We got you covered. It's this little thing we like to call Patreon. You might have heard of it before. $5 a month, the price of a coffee, the price of a beer at the bar, and you are making this show happen. You are picking us up off the ground, and you're lifting us up like the lion and the Lion King at the top of Pride Rock. I think that's what it's called. At the top of the Pride Lands Rock. It's called the Pride Lands. I know all about Lion King. All right, ask me anything. The bird's name is Apu. So, yes, you like this show, you like what we're doing here, seriously consider supporting it. We got exclusive content on that Patreon. So if you go on there, you can see exclusive podcast stuff. You can hear my music before it comes out anywhere else. And also you can hear some of my music that you will only ever hear on that Patreon. If you look on the screen here, we got a couple of those patrons on the screen. That could be you. You could be shouted out at the end of every single one of these podcasts, and all you got to do is just that tiny little contribution. Seriously, if just enough of you guys did that, this whole thing would be a whole different thing. It would be so much bigger and so much better, and I would be proud to put all your names on that screen. You know, I'd let them scroll by. I'll read them all off. I'll throw them in a rap song or something. I'll figure it out, okay? Seriously, I love you guys. I love everybody who makes this show possible, and seriously, I couldn't do it without other people's support. This is one of those things that I could never do on my own, and community is king, okay? So thank you so much for supporting. Thank you so much for watching. Now let's hear a little bit more about our guest today, Mr. Cam. All right, man. Speaking of you, the people who have been watching this, they have no idea who Cam is. If you were to introduce yourself, like somebody who just tuned in, they have no idea who you are. What would you say?
I'm Cam. I'm a comedian from Chicago, from Michigan originally. I'm a good old Midwestern boy.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's about it. Yeah.
Good old Midwestern boy.
Yeah.
The Midwest. I feel like Chicago, moving to Chicago from Michigan, because I did the same thing.
Yeah.
I feel like it was a good move because of that. I feel like there's that Midwestern energy in both places.
Exactly, yeah.
Whereas if I were to go somewhere else, because you were saying to me before we started recording that you were in LA for a little bit.
Yeah, I went to Florida for college, and then I was in LA for a couple years.
Yeah.
And yeah, that Midwestern vibe is prime, I think.
Prime.
Yeah, it's prime.
Yeah.
We're also sponsored by Prime.
Yeah. Lots of sponsors.
Lots of sponsors today.
But yeah, I can imagine. I haven't even really been around much, but just from like what I see on the internet and what I know about the world.
Yeah, yeah.
I just know I'm in my safe place.
Yeah. It's pretty chill for the most part. You know, everyone's generally friendly. You know, we value community, drinking beer, cheese. What else do you want, you know?
What else could
We've
you
got a
need?
lot of good colleges, all that stuff too.
Yeah, yes. We got all kinds of things. We got nature.
We got nature, lots of
water.
nature. There is water. We have fresh water.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Michigan has like the most fresh water than any other state because of all the Great Lakes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's... But now they're like, what? Now we got to worry about like poisoning the water because they're like throwing chemicals into, like, literally. What is it? It's up in like the UP. There's like a big petition. If you know what I'm talking about, they're like throwing actual shit into the water. It's like runoff things from like chemical plants.
Yeah, well,
like
it's like the whole PFAS forever chemical thing.
Is that what it is?
Yeah. Yeah. The big lawsuit was like with DuPont. I think was like the big popular one with that.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a big problem and. Flint got fucked by that too, but
was that what it was?
Well, Flint had PFAS chemicals from runoff for a while too, but they've also got the lead in the water because they changed the whole watering system.
So it's both.
Yeah, but yeah, I grew up. So Grand Rapids, right outside Grand Rapids, is like Rockford, Belmont Township. area, and they have the highest level of PFAS, or they had the highest level of PFAS chemicals in the country.
Wow.
Yeah, because they had Wolverine factory, the shoe factory, like right there, and they were just dumping it right into the Rogue River, which feeds into the Grand River, which feeds into Lake Michigan.
And there's like people fishing in that river. And
Yeah.
all that.
Yeah, they say at this point, if you live in America, you probably, like 90% of people have that chemical, like forever chemicals in their bloodstream.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Bruh.
Yeah, it's an area I'm like weirdly autistic on. I'm like, I know way too much.
We're all like mutants, basically.
Basically, yeah.
And that's like just one ingredient in our
that's just
mutant
one
hood.
example.
We've probably got plenty of other
We're not
things.
even talking about what's in the Mountain Dew. Yeah. Go do the do.
What's in the fucking broccoli, dude? Like just even like shit they use to make like. If you ever see like what vegetables used to look like compared to now, like how they're all beefed up, like they're on steroids.
Yeah, we got all these fucking Guido vegetables.
Corn used to be
juicing.
this big.
Yeah.
We got Guido corn that's this big.
Yeah, we got this big.
That's great.
We got GTL corn, dude.
BBL corn.
BBL corn.
It's just so crazy.
Yeah.
And that's like actually real. It's just undeniable.
Yeah.
And nobody really knows. It's all just kind of one big experiment where we're just like, we hope that we don't like our arms just don't stop growing in like 50 years.
It's such like this weird phenomenon because I feel like it's the sentiment that every person in America has about like the food that we are ingesting and like the water and everything. But like no politician really seems to give a fuck about it, like changing that.
Yeah.
And that's why RFK, like, I don't like most of the stuff he does or says, but that's the one thing that, like,
I think it resonates with most normal people.
I think that's what got him, like, as far as he did, is because he was the only person talking about the thing that, like, we all kind of agree on is our food's poison, our water's poison.
And it makes, like, because the thing is, you got to remember, all these people who pay attention to politics all the time, they don't really realize, like, the person who's barely paying attention, like, they just hear, oh, this guy is saying that the food is poison. Yeah, he's probably right. Like, and then if that's all they hear, and then they hear other people saying this guy's crazy, but they're like, yeah, but he is the only guy saying
like
the food is
poison.
poison.
The food's poison.
He's a poison food guy.
Yeah,
you kind of need him. Like, if no one else is gonna do that, it's so crazy. I mean, I don't even eat like fast food anymore because I worked at McDonald's for a while, and then I just realized, like, oh my god, dude, like if you were to actually eat this forever, like as soon as I really like, there was that viral post on social media, but most people know this, where it's like if you leave a burger from McDonald's out for 10 years, it looks the same. Yeah. You should never eat that. Yeah. Like, ever. Yeah. You could never convince me.
No, never. Yeah.
Like, never.
Yeah.
There's got to be some type of biological hazard going on.
No, that's not okay. Yeah. I have a whole bit about that with because I was making fun of the anti-vaxxers. Yeah. And I'm like, like they're just like, I just don't know I don't know what's in my body. I'm like, since when do we care what we put in our body? Like, I don't know the ingredients. You know what else you don't know the ingredients of? A Shamrock Shake, okay? You ever leave one of those things in your car for 3 days and it doesn't melt? Like, that's real. I've left Shamrock Shakes in my car for like a week, and then it's exactly the same. It's not melted. I could drink it right there if I wanted to. Dude, you shouldn't.
That's not right.
That's not right. That's not how food should be.
There's no shake that you go to at a good place and it actually stays in the same shape for over more than 4 hours.
Yeah. Yeah, food
shouldn't happen.
Yeah, food shouldn't be good for more than like a couple hours once you like take it.
And so like when I see anybody saying anything like that, like there was I'm forgetting their names now. I think it was like Casey something and someone else, but they wrote a book about like how food is really bad for you too and all this, and they just started getting really popular on social media. But again, like of course that's I imagine that there's probably, because it's a growing sentiment, there's probably people within that are just people that are talking about it because it's the popular thing to talk about. Yeah. So there's that. And then I think that would be like what people say if they really don't like someone like RFK or whatever. You could probably always, that's kind of an infallible argument. If you just say, oh, well, he's only doing that to appeal to blah, blah, blah. You can say that about anything. Exactly. So it's kind of like, I can understand why people wouldn't care for it. But at the same time, dude, it's like, how can you be... Would you rather consume poison or like not? Actual poison. And like the whole food dye thing. Yeah. Like, okay, so what always drives me nuts is, for one, there's sugar in fucking everything. Bro. Yeah. Like, okay, if you're going to get juice, orange juice, do you need to add sugar to orange juice?
orange juice. It's already sweet.
Sugar.
Yeah,
it's already sugar.
It's already sugar. Let's add some more sugar.
It makes no sense to me. And I think that it's just because like they want everything to be addictive, and all these food industries know this. So what you would do is you would add sugar so your thing is more addictive.
Yeah.
Because now people are going to want to consume it more because there's sugar in it.
Yeah.
Like, of course. But like, if you get the thing that has no sugar, it's usually fine. You're usually like, like it's not the same, but it's okay.
Yeah, it's better, way better for you.
Yeah.
And then you combine that with the fact that like insulin is insanely expensive, and you're like, I kind of get what the conspiracy theorists are saying. You're like,
the insulin industry.
Yeah, the insulin industry is lobbying Big Sugar. Put sugar in everything.
Oh, dude, but it's just so crazy because like I feel like it's not even that hard of a problem to solve. But no one talks about it. That's the problem. Is like, and when one person talks about it, they just happen to be the person that people get mad at. And so you can't even, like, you just need a coalition of everyone getting together and saying, you know what, this is bad. Like, you could have that.
We need someone where that's like their only thing that they talk about. Because it's like, that's the thing with RFK. It's like, he talks about this, but then there's all this other stuff attached to it.
There's also the whales in his trunk.
Yeah, exactly. There's also the worm in his brain. It's like, shut the fuck up about the worm.
Just keep it on food.
Talk about the food. Talk about the water. Talk about... Please. We can actually get something done here.
Don't talk to Roseanne again. Stay away from her.
I like that we're having this conversation while drinking Pepsi and Mountain Dew.
I thought that when I was grabbing them out. I said, dude, sugar's fucking terrible.
Sugar's fucking terrible. Let me get my wild cherry on.
We're sponsored, so it's okay.
You gotta show the label.
This is like our way of appealing to everybody. Like,
exactly.
If Mountain Dew were watching this, they would be like, this is genius. We should sponsor these guys.
Yeah.
Because it's like, we are saying that Mountain Dew is bad, but we're also saying we're sponsored by Mountain Dew. So it's like the mixed message.
Yeah.
The people watch it and they're like,
love that. Yeah.
Mountain Dew. I think that's the beauty of our society is that we know all this shit is bad, but yet at the same time we're like,
yeah, being meta is cool. Being meta is marketable, you know?
It is.
Yeah.
I have said before, I'll say it again. I think we're in a post-ironic society.
Post-ironic.
That's what I like to call it. Yeah. It's like irony was funny for a while, and now it doesn't even have to be ironic anymore. It's how you get skibbity toilet.
Skibbity toilet. It's just all retarded.
Yes. Like everything is like
ironic
meta.
I love that.
I really think that's what it is.
It's just straight up brain damage. It's just straight up devolving into
the joke is
madness.
that there's no joke.
Yeah, that's the joke. There isn't one. This is reality.
Yeah, like the joke is the commentary surrounding the original thing that made no sense.
Yeah.
Like that. Are you familiar with the show Better Call Saul?
Yeah.
Did you see the whole kid named Finger thing?
Yeah.
Dude. So that's a great example because if like it's hard to even explain it, but it's like there was a big Reddit thread where somebody got something Mike said wrong and they said like kid named Finger and it was like someone misinterpreting a meme or something and it became this big joke in the community. You still will see it all over the place.
Yeah.
But the joke is originally based on something so inane and pointless.
Yeah.
But that's what makes it funny.
Yeah.
And like I think people have approached Jonathan Banks at this point and like said to him like kid named Finger. They'll comment on his Instagram.
Dumb.
It's the dumbest thing. But that's the society we live in, a post-ironic society.
Post-ironic society. Yeah. That's
I don't know if I like it or not.
Yeah.
You know?
No, I definitely don't like it. Yeah.
I think that's how you get like a lot of like because I think with comedy in particular. Comedy is good because it's a long form, like you can set up ideas and you can really explore things in a way that you could never do in a 60-second like internet format where you're cutting things down and you're doing all this. Like it doesn't work. So you'll see people who get popular with comedy on social media and then they go to stand-up comedy.
It doesn't translate.
It doesn't translate because it's a whole different art form.
Yeah.
But it's confusing. And then with all this crowd work stuff, it's the same thing. It's like people see something on social media and that kind of changes the format in this weird
that's
way.
What the show is, and then they go there expecting that.
And that's you get more people who participate in the audience in that. Just naturally, because of course you will.
Yeah.
People think they're part of the show because they've seen it when they're scrolling on social media. They're like, oh, that's what comedy is.
Yeah,
like, that's 100%. What they think it is.
Yeah, I was friends with one of those people.
Oh.
Yeah, I love her to death, but I can't bring her to shows anymore.
Yeah.
Because I think she just always thought like that's what comedy is.
I've seen it once or twice.
Yeah. And like you would bring them to shows, and then they say some shit, and then the comic gets mad. Like, what are you doing, Cam?
Because they know you brought her.
Oh yeah. It's affected having bad friends and bringing them to shows will affect your booking in this industry.
I've thought about that.
It will
dude.
affect your.
I have friends where I'm like, would I bring them?
Yeah.
Would I take them to a professional event where people might respect me?
Yeah, like I've got comedy friends I would never bring around like other friends, and vice versa. I've got 2 groups of friends that I know should never meet each other.
And it's actually wise of you, though.
Oh yeah,
like that's the wise decision.
Yeah, I think it's important to have different groups of friends and different types of people around in your life.
I think so.
So you get different perspectives.
No, I think 100%. Like I think that's like one reason I like doing something like this. I think it's cool that in comedy you naturally get a big community just from if you're participating and you're like sticking around, you're talking to people, you're gonna meet a lot of people. Like you go to open mics and you go to them often. Yeah. It's gonna be different people all the time. So you're going to meet people. And like naturally you start seeing the same people over and over and over. And I think that for one, being engaged with the art form, so seeing all those people do stand-up helps your stand-up because you're feeding off of them. Like you're learning in that. But also like it's just I think the differences that you see, like you can never in a vacuum truly understand yourself even. Like I think you have to put your ideas against other people and then like see other people's ideas and think about those. And if you don't put yourself in those situations, you don't know as much about yourself. Yeah. Like it's this weird thing where you actually have to do it to learn about you. Yeah. You have to learn about other people.
Yeah. Part of being out there and being in the community and performing, it's all figuring out who the fuck you are. That's why they say it takes 10 years to become a comic. Because you don't even know what kind of comic you are.
Wow, yeah.
Until then.
But what's crazy about that with the whole 10-year thing, because I agree with it, but what's crazy about it is, of course, you think you know what you are. Yeah. The only way that you can really put it in perspective is if you, like, look at past you, and then you realize 2 years ago you didn't know what you were, and now you know a little bit more. Like, that's what I always try to think about is, like, because with music, I think I'm the shit right now. I think I'm dope as fucking hell. Yeah. I will tell you, I'm the best rapper ever.
Yeah. I agree.
But if I look at myself 10 years from now, I know for a fact.
You're going to think you're better then.
I'm going to look back at me right now and be like, bruh, I had no idea.
Yeah, and that's just life and progression. But it's like in the moment, it's so hard to have that perspective of just like, I'm not the shit right now. You know? I know that I'm getting better, you know.
But if you think that way, that's the best way to get better.
Yeah.
Because then naturally you're going to do the things you would do if you were trying to do that, you know. Yeah. Like I think comedy's cool because you work things out in real time and you get to do it over, like if you're going to 2 open mics a night, 3 open mics a night, you can test the same joke over and over and work it out in real time. Yeah. And that's like in the moment making yourself better. Yeah. It's really what it is. Yeah. And like with music, you can kind of do that. Like, but it's really just the same song. I'm just capturing the moment differently. With comedy, you can really shape it. And so, and you're shaping your own overall in this grand sense, you're shaping your whole tone and you're shaping your whole thing. Yeah. But in that joke, you're just shaping the joke.
I like to think of it like when I went to school for music production, and when they talk about mixing, they talk about you want to mix it in your studio, and then you want to listen to it in your car and take notes. Then
absolutely.
You take it to maybe like a different venue somewhere else and hear it like on speakers or whatever. Testing it in all these different rooms to hear the different ways that the song can be interpreted. Putting it with like ear pods or something like that. It's the same way with comedy. Making sure that you're running your material in lots of different rooms in front of different audiences. Seeing how that material can land with different ears. And then what adjustments you can make to make sure that it lands no matter where you go.
Yeah. And that's the only way you would build like a solid.
That's why it takes 10 years, because there's a lot of fucking people out there. You got to get their perspective.
And that's why you have to, with comedy in a unique sense too, it's so much about traveling. Like eventually it's all about traveling. Like you were telling me before we started recording here too that you moved here with kind of a group of other comics just over time, all from Grand Rapids, you came to Chicago. Yeah. And I think a lot of that is just because eventually you have to travel and you have to find a different community and a bigger, like what with a city like this, one thing that's different than a place like Grand Rapids or even like any like city probably within inner Michigan, I suppose, is that you get people that travel to Chicago all the time. Right. So even that pool of people is going to be radically different than whatever you're going to have in any major city. Yeah. That's not like one of these big travel cities in America.
Yeah.
And I think with comedy, you need to have diverse audiences
100%,
like that. Because
yeah.
you're getting somebody who literally they've been in the country for 2 days and they don't even know America. And you have to make that guy laugh.
Types of people.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why like every big city has a comedy scene is because it's the best way to get the most out of your jokes and have those different audiences and stuff.
Yeah.
Like in Michigan, there is like a supportive community there and people that love comedy. But after a while, you're kind of seeing the exact same people, same audiences, and like they've heard your jokes before, and it's like you're getting kind of the same feedback, and like you're kind of around the same demographics usually.
Yeah, and at a certain point, you can only expand so much within that bubble.
Exactly.
Yeah, because you're just gonna hit the edges of the bubble.
Yeah.
That's one reason I came here. I mean, that really is the main reason. Is I just saw there was so much like And now that I'm doing these podcasts, it's so gratifying because I can see it in real time. But I just saw there was so much like culture with like if you were to go down any like thing, there's so much culture behind it. Like just in the city itself and the way that the city I think embraces art, the way that these things like that Midwestern energy we're talking about. I think all those things culminate in this big supportive community that you can kind of feel in the air. And then like within that comedy community in Chicago, like I think there is a little bit of like, obviously like in any community, you're going to get people who don't want to work together, but there's a whole lot of working together. And I think that kind of stuff, like it's a big circle. Like you can see that there's so much connective tissue in a place like this. Yeah. And it's just cool. It's just cool. And that's the place you need to be if you're trying to grow. Like you need that connective tissue because all those things that you're doing right now become so much bigger in like 2 years and 3 years, those connections you make.
100%.
You don't even know what you're doing in the moment.
Exactly. Yeah. Right now you're just living life and you think you're just trying to get better at this. And then, 5 years from now, you might be running a show and then someone that you came up with is like, oh, I actually have an in over here and we need someone right now. Can you fill in? And then that could change your career just like that.
Yeah. It's who you know. It really is true. It's random little things that truly that's what it is. It's kind of like the payoff of doing that thing we were saying before with like meeting different people and doing that all the time. It's just like that random guy you met like 4 years ago that you became best friends with. That's the guy that pays off the most in the end. The one you would have never guessed. Yeah. It's not like the one that you were like the successful guy you were trying to meet. It's the random guy you were friends with.
There's so many examples of that. Like one night I did not want to go out. I was just like, I feel like shit. I don't want to go out and do comedy. I don't feel like making people laugh. And then my friend Dia was in town, and she was like, let's go to the Laugh Factory. Let's go to the open mic. I want to see you do comedy. And I was like, I really don't want to. But she convinced me, and I went out there. And then we ended up running into our friend Maggie, who we both knew when we lived in L.A. And we ended up just seeing her there. She was, at this time, she still lived in L.A. We're like, what the hell are you doing here? And she was with this guy, Shannon. And she's like, yeah, I'm on the road. He's got me on the road. I'm working with them. And we were around, figured we'd try to get on the Laugh Factory open mic tonight. Like, oh, my God, that's crazy. And then I met Shannon and talked to them and then did the mic. And then next thing I know, I go to the Laugh Factory mic again, and I run into Shannon again. And he had just moved here from Austin. And next thing I know, I'm on the road working with Shannon. They book all these rooms across the Midwest. I did like 2 weeks on the road just doing shows and like starting in like Wisconsin, Minnesota, North Dakota, South Dakota, Nebraska.
Just from going twice.
All because I just went out once and just because I didn't want to. And then I met this guy and then I happened to bump into him again later. Yeah. And then, he saw me a couple times and we did a couple mics. And he brought me on like a couple just one-off shows just to see how I did. Huh. But like, just like that moment of just like, I could sit at home and just be comfortable and chill, but like if you do that, you're missing out on those little bump-ins, those random people that you might meet that could change your entire year,
Yeah. I feel like it's kind of like the ultimate lesson of life to me is that butterfly effect of everything, of every little thing. Like if you were to ask me like what my ultimate goal is, it would be just to create the most difference in other people's lives as possible. Meaning like to do that particular thing as much as possible. Yeah. Like how many people could you actually affect in one lifetime.
I think Hitler had the same goal. Yeah. Yeah, I'd say he crushed it. He nailed it.
I should probably caveat, affect people positively.
Positively. Yeah. How can I affect the most people by doing the same thing over and over again?
Because, like, gas. There's a lot of answers to that question. But I mean, like, it's all because to me, when I make a song, like the coolest thing is if somebody were to come up to me after like a performance per se, I should say, like if I were to go and I perform and I'm just performing like 3 songs, I perform these songs 20, 30 times already. I know these songs. Like I've ran through them in my brain. I know what they are. Whoever just saw it, that's the first time they ever saw it. Yeah. And also, like, if they come up to me afterwards and then they say, like, oh my gosh, like, because I've heard this before. Like, I've heard, like, that comedians will say to other comedians, they'll say, like, wow, like, he has really good energy on stage. Like, don't you wish you had that kind of energy? And it's cool that that translates to a comedian, and that's their interpretation. Like, they think, wow, he's loose on stage. I wish I could be that loose on stage. And that's a really cool, because you're not thinking that when you're the guy that's being loose on stage. Right. You're just doing the thing. Yeah, 100%. And so, but it's those things that matter the most. Yeah. Because that's the real difference you're creating.
Yeah, those are the little nuances that you pick up as a performer. Yeah. It's just like, there's so much value in just being in that moment and not like overthinking everything you're doing.
Yeah, and, for sure. Yeah. And I mean, that's kind of, for me, that's kind of one thing that would scare me a lot about comedy, though, is I think there's so many things that could psych you out. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it's really easy to get psyched out. And so it's like, you have to almost practice it. Like, I would even suggest meditating. Really? There's a lot of successful comics, like Jerry Seinfeld always talks about. He does TM, like transcendental meditation or whatever. No way. Yeah,
it's like, because really just being in the moment is what makes a better performer and what makes a good comedian a great comedian.
I mean, I agree with that, but I never would have thought like meditation would be a thing for comedians. I never would have thought that.
Yeah. I mean, we spend a lot of time self-reflecting. That's how you kind of come up with material, is you're reflecting on the world and yourself and your thoughts and how you feel about certain things. Yeah. You spend a lot of time in your head, and so meditation's a good way to get you in the right mind space for that. And then, but yeah, also just practice just being present in the current moment. You know?
Yeah, because see, I always say, because you know there seems to be a beef between comedy and improv for some reason, but you could learn a lot from improv just with those basic rules they present to you, because it kind of is the same thing as like being zen and being in the moment. It's all that. It's all the same thing.
100%.
And in comedy, even if you're doing written material, you have to be in the moment. You have to be able to do improv per se. Like say someone interrupts your joke 20 seconds into a 60-second joke and they just completely fucked up the timing. How do you improv your way to make that joke still be like, you could make it better. You could actually somehow like jazz your way into making it better. Right. But that's what you have to do.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. It's a great muscle that I will say,
I think that's what separates a good comedian from a great comedian is exactly that.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, improv can teach comedians a lot of good muscles to flex, like being able to be present in the moment and react to the environment and stuff like that. Yeah. I think the beef is just that they're not funny.
Right. Well, that's the problem. As I'm trying to say, like, you can learn something from these guys. Ignore that they're weird. Yeah. I hate musicals, and improv people remind me of musical people.
Oh yeah, it's the same group of people.
Kids.
Yeah, theater kids. Yeah.
You
theater
motherfuckers
kids that weren't good enough to get in plays and stuff. So
this could be cool. That's what makes me crazy. Yeah. This could be cool.
It could be cool.
You could make it work. You just have the worst people. It's actually frustrating. Yeah. Because like it's a fun, like when it comes down to it, everything is kind of improv. And like even when you're doing a joke you've done 30 times, again, it's new to that person that you're telling it to right there. They've never heard it. And so it is kind of like you're flowing in that moment, and you whatever that moment is, you can give it to them differently. Or those people who've heard it before, they can hear it differently. Yeah. Someone told me, I think it was Jason Melton, and he told me the way that he writes his jokes is he never says them the same way. It's just like kind of like a skeleton in his head. Moment. Yeah, and I thought that was really cool because a lot of comedians don't do that.
Yeah, I'm not gonna say similar, but like I definitely, there's been times where I'm just more in the moment and I can feel the energy of the room, and I just will phrase things a different way for whatever reason. Yeah, and I can tell like it just lands better. It's just, that's part of just being a communicator. I think is like what's the best way to deliver this to this particular group of people.
Yeah, these guys are racist.
Yeah, these guys are racist, so I know I need to add an N-word here.
Oh, yeah, it worked.
Yeah. But no, that word flow is good, though, because I think that's really what I'm trying to describe, is being in, like, a flow state instead of, you know, trying to overanalyze everything and catch, was it, a paralysis by analysis type of thing.
Yeah.
You know?
Paralysis by analysis. I heard that recently, and it really is a good one. Because, I mean, say I'm rapping, and I'm thinking too much about, like, all of this meta bullshit. Like, where am I on stage? Like, what are they looking at me? Are they paying attention to me? Like, is this even, like, should I even be here right now? Blah, blah, blah. As soon as I'm doing all of that, I'm analyzing this way too much, because I could just be in that moment, in that flow state, and just doing it. I think with music, it's a little easier because I know all the steps. I know where this is going. I can determine this moment. Whereas with comedy, it's very much based on what you guys do.
Yeah.
Because
their reaction, their energy.
Entirely, yeah.
And if they're not liking certain jokes, you're kind of trying to make edits in your head of, like, okay, maybe when I tell this joke, don't say that, or don't say this joke at all, or tell this before this.
Yep.
And you're trying to do that while also be present and, like, make it seem like, okay, yeah, we're all here having fun and having a good conversation. I like to think of it like people try to compare music and comedy a lot. I think comedy's closer to magic, like being a magician, you know? 'Cause, like, the whole point is, like, you're trying to make that person feel like they're seeing it for the first time, like you're doing it for the first time, and it's just natural. And also, once they've seen it, you can't do it again because they know the magic trick. You know, with a joke, once they've heard a joke, okay, I know the punchline. You know, where with music, you'll listen to it over and over again. But with comedy, it's like, no, I know where this is. I get where this is going. I know the punchline. People will jump in and tell you the punchline beforehand.
Wow.
If they've heard it before.
I think the reactions that people have with comedy and music is even similar. Like, if there's, like, a good magic trick, people are like, and they laugh and they get excited. Yeah. Like, you gotta,
hey, Dirtbug.
Yeah, this is what I warned him about before we started. Oscar becomes restless.
Same, though.
Come on, Oscar. Relax.
Oh, my Oscar, your wiener.
Give you a chance, Oscar. Can you sit your butt down?
Come on, Oscar.
Sit down. Can you lay down?
Let's get cozy.
There
big
go.
Stretch.
He's gonna lay down. He's gonna lay down.
Big stretch.
Oh,
Oscar.
it looks like,
it
looks like Oscar's gonna come out here. Come out here.
Come on, Oscar.
Come on, Oscar.
Because I'll be good.
You're gonna be good?
I'll be good.
All right, I give you a chance. I give you a chance, Oscar, but this is your chance. Don't blow it.
You only got one shot.
One opportunity. But I think, like, so David Blaine, I've seen him say that what he loves so much about magic is that you can see, like, the kid in people again. They get all excited. They're like a little kid. Yeah. And I think comedy's kind of the same, where people light up in a way because you, like, made them do something in their mind.
Yeah,
like,
it was an involuntary reaction.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And magic, it's the same. You're like, yeah. How did he do it?
Yeah, it's this interesting thing, too. It's like, I'll do, like, an hour-long set, and people will be like, oh, my God, you're so funny. I laughed. And then, like, they'll be like, oh, that one joke. But, like, they can't even remember. Like, they'll try to be like, that one joke. What was it about? They can't even remember what made them laugh. They just remember that they had a great time. It's like this weird hypnosis almost.
I was about to say, I think all performance art done well becomes hypnosis in a way.
Yeah. I think so. It's like group mass hypnosis.
Yeah.
We're all just tapping into the same vibe, energy.
Yeah.
And if it's done well,
But it's hard to put a pin in that and, like, understand it.
Yeah.
But, like, if a performer is doing particularly well, it's almost as if they're hypnotizing you. Like, as if like they are because you kind of get lost in whatever they're doing. Like, if you are engaged within them, you kind of forget everything else and you become hypnotized by that. Like, if a comedian's particularly good, you forget everything else and you just completely zone in on them.
Yeah. And I guess that's really the marker of any good art is, like, if you watch a movie too, it's like there's a certain point where it's like, if it's really good, they're making you think and feel what they want you to think and feel.
Yeah. I've heard it said that the best thing you could possibly do in life is learn to communicate. And I think that's kind of the idea. And also, I read a book. I can see it right there. It's called Writing Screenplays That Sell by Michael Hogg. And in that book,
What's the other book? Mein Kampf?
yeah. Don't look at that one. Ignore that one. But
signed. That's weird.
Stop mentioning the other books, dude. Hope he doesn't see like what other books I got buried inside of the corner over there. Those are my secret books. Yeah. We can't talk about those.
It's just a photo album of you in blackface.
I was going to say porn, but...
That's my kind of porn. Yeah? Right. Sorry.
But, anyway, Writing Screenplays That Sell. And in the book, it says, like, you have... a good screenplay is one that makes people think and feel. And I thought, like, oh, wow, like, that's kind of what you're trying to do in good art in general. Like, not just films, but everything.
Yeah.
It's like a balance of that. Because if I go too far onto trying to make them think, then you become, like, you can't engage with it. It's like a comedian who's just way too into, like, the ideas of his jokes. He's just so into, like, what's funny about the bit or the premise that he kind of loses it. And or trying to make a point. Exactly. Like when people do politics, you'll see that a lot, where they get way too into the politics of it and not what's funny about the politics.
Yeah.
They just lean into the actual politics.
Yeah, exactly.
You could do political humor. Anybody can.
Yeah.
But you have to make it funny.
Yeah, you have to bring it back home.
Yeah. And so, and in that same thing, you can't be too much into the feeling, because then you could just be doing anything.
You're just screaming into a microphone. You're just having a therapy session.
And I've seen that too.
I've definitely seen that too. Yeah.
You kind of going to open mics. You are bound to see a lot of that.
Yeah.
To see a whole lot of that.
Yeah. At some point, everybody has their own little crash out.
You'll see people like go on stage. They'll be like, "I was gonna do comedy tonight, but instead, I'm just gonna tell you about my day." Like, all right, here we go.
This needs to happen. Otherwise, the mall's getting shot up today.
You just kind of accept
all right.
it.
Yep.
So you can't feel too much either. Yeah. There's a balance.
There's a balance to everything. Yeah.
Yeah, and like what else was I gonna say? Because I really like what you said about it is like how a movie, you kind of get lost in the movie, Well, I always say with like David Lynch too. He once said that like what made him want to do movies is he saw a painting and he thought he saw the painting move and he thought, a moving painting. And like I swear he said it before, where it's like something about like with film, it should be like about or with art, it should be about your interpretation of it. It shouldn't be about what I say it's about. And that's why he would never explain anything with anything that he ever did. Like, and he was really good at doing things that you'd want an explanation.
Yeah.
But he never explained it. So many of his decisions would be like, why the fuck would anybody do that? But before we started recording, we talked about like learn the rules and then break them. And he's like the master at that. He's one of the masters at that, at breaking the rules. But he never explained anything he did, because it's about you and the way you interpret him breaking the rules.
Whatever you think the reason is, that's correct. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Which is the true like enlightened way to look at it. Like even with comedy, I shouldn't tell you exactly what I'm thinking. I should just tell you what's funny, and whatever you think I think is correct.
Right.
You shouldn't know what I actually think.
Yeah.
It's like
that's
music.
The hallmark of great comics is like you'll never really be able to tell where they fall on like the political spectrum or about certain things. They're just telling you what they think is funny.
Yeah, I have fucking no clue what Adam Ray thinks.
Yeah.
I have no idea.
He's all over the map. Yeah.
But I know he is Joe Biden, and I know he is Dr. Phil. Yeah. So I saw
we'll be
him,
right back.
I saw him say on a podcast once he responds to all messages.
Yeah.
And I thought, I messaged him and he didn't message me back. So I messaged him again and he messaged me back.
That's crazy.
He really does reply to all messages.
Yeah.
Shout out Adam Ray.
Yeah. I messaged Dane Cook once, just a picture of my dick, but
no response.
A big response actually. He's like, "Wow, get that thing in my mouth. Yum yum yum." No.
The voice message.
Yeah, voice message. Yeah. He's like, "I'm over at the BK Lounge." No. No, I did message him once, I think, because I watched a podcast, and he was talking about, like, at that time of, like, the early 2000s, right, when MySpace became a thing.
Yeah.
He was really ahead of the game with, like, MySpace and, like, AIM chat rooms.
People don't know about Dane Cook, bro.
Yeah, and he, like, he talked about how he went to a meeting, and they were, like, not sure about him, and he's like, "Watch this." And he opened up his AIM chat, and like logged in, and it crashed the computer because so many people wanted to talk to him.
Wow.
And like they were like, "Oh, okay." And then he got a deal in the room.
Wow.
And so I messaged him and like, "What do you think like the equivalent of like today is? Like, what advice would you give to young comics who are trying to get ahead of the curve with all the technology and stuff evolving in social media?" And yeah, he basically just said, "Get lost, faggot." No, no. You know, he gave a response of just like, he's like, I got really lucky in getting in like early on. He's like, really, all you can do is just focus on getting on stage and being funny.
Wow.
You know, the rest will come no matter what. And I was like, all right, yeah, that's good advice.
Huh.
Yeah.
That is good advice.
Yeah.
Wow. That's interesting. Because he really was at the beginning of it all. Like, it's kind of like if you were a big YouTuber in like 2010 or MySpace. People don't know about MySpace nowadays either. Like MySpace used to be the only thing before Facebook, and even for like music, it was big. But Dane Cook, I forgot about that. MySpace was a big part of him.
He was like the first comedian to have like their own website. He paid like a bunch of money to have someone build a website for him.
Wow.
And like he built like a fan base. He was like one of the first ones to have like an online fan base. And it was because he built the website, he had the chat rooms, he was a big gamer. And he would tell people to follow him, go to his website, and like constantly. He was like the first social media guy. It was weird. It's really weird.
That is crazy.
Yeah, and that's why he became so popular. Is because like when Comedy Central Presents started like pumping their thing into college dorms, you know, and then he's the only one that's on the internet, and at the time the internet's the coolest thing, you know.
Yeah, because all the other comics were still just like trying to do specials and trying to be on talk shows.
Yeah, they were trying to, exactly.
Try to do sitcoms.
Exactly.
They weren't even thinking about the internet.
Exactly, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, they were all like
he Gary V'd that shit.
Yeah, he Gary V'd that shit, 100%. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's crazy just because he really was so ahead of the curve.
Yeah.
You know, like... And what kind of boggles my mind about it is that he doesn't do that shit now. He kind of lays back and he does podcasts every now and then, but he's just kind of, I don't think he's really doing a special or anything.
He took a long time off. He did a special, I think, 2 years ago.
Oh, he did? Okay.
Yeah, he did a more recent one where he was trying to be more like chill and like not all bouncing off the walls. But yeah, he took a long time off. I don't know why I know so much about Dane Cook. But his brother like stole a bunch of money from him.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, his brother was like his business manager and embezzled a bunch of money. Yeah. So that kind of like he took a big hit there.
His brother was not the employee of the month.
No.
Oh, Dane Cook.
Oh, I forgot about that movie.
Yeah.
When I worked at Office Depot, I always thought about building my own little like haven and like the aisles, you know, if you remember, like the racks, they had like their own little clubhouse that they built.
You know what? I didn't realize that Harlan Williams was in that movie until I was rewatching clips recently. I was like, oh my god! Like as a kid, I didn't even know who he was.
Yeah,
so I didn't realize it was him.
Funny. Yeah,
because there's a clip of them going into the Haven. It's like they're on a what's that thing that goes up like and it raises you. No idea what that thing's called.
Yeah, what is that thing called? A lift?
A lift, whatever. They take the lift up, and it's just like it's like a little club inside of a bunch of like shelves.
Yeah.
In Home Depot, which is actually genius. Like if you had a club up inside the stack of wood,
yeah.
It'd be fucking sick.
It'd be so sick.
And like there's a scene in the movie where he takes a girl on the date into the Haven.
Yeah.
It's like set up like a date. I'm pretty sure Harlan Williams is the waiter in the date.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
But yeah, so he's in that movie. So I'm trying to think of there's the actress in that movie is like a popular actress too. That whole movie, it's got what's the Dax, not Dax.
Dax Shepard, Dax Shepard's in it. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. Shout out that guy.
That's such a weird era of movies because there's a lot of comedy movies that came out like in the early.
Shout out Judd Apatow.
Judd Apatow was.
He's kind of the pioneer of that whole era.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, Knocked Up, Super Bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because before him. I think it was just a bunch of kind of like random comedies,
a bunch of farces. Yeah,
yeah.
It was like you can like Road Trip or what's it called, like College Road Trip, that one, or I'm trying to think of the other ones around that time. I don't know.
Probably because they weren't as memorable.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Oh, Dude, Where's My Car? That's the one I was trying to think of. Like Dude, Where's My Car? Delta Farce. That was the the cable guy one.
Yeah, Delta Farce. Yeah.
A bunch of these just like zany, you know.
Oh, Larry the Cable Guy, bro.
Movies, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. There was I was gonna say, Scary Movie.
Yes.
All those were right around that time, yeah. And those were probably like some of the best ones that came out around that era for like White Chicks too. I mean the Wayne brothers, they probably they would probably be the pioneer before Judd Apatow.
Yeah, they crushed it. Yeah, they crushed that era.
Yeah. But Judd Apatow kind of turned it into like a dramedy thing.
Yeah.
That was what was, and I feel like it kind of burnt out after a couple years, but when the iron was hot, it was like 40-Year-Old Virgin.
Yeah.
Pineapple Express, Knocked Up, Superbad. Like,
oh yeah.
all those fucking
Bangers,
movies.
Yeah.
And I think they all hold up.
Yeah, was it Mike and Mary make a porno? Zach and Mary make a porno.
Zach and Mary make a porno.
Yeah.
Bridesmaids,
yep.
Those are all him. And then I think the first one that really flopped, I'm pretty sure, was when they tried to do the it was like based on the This Is 40. That's what it was called.
This Is 40.
And that one was just kind of like lackluster. Yeah. And it was the characters from Knocked Up, but you didn't see the main characters from Knocked Up, so it was kind of just like a spin-off.
All I remember from that movie is like a guy had like balls on his chin. There was like a whole thing where he just has balls on his chin, and then it gets cold and they shrivel up.
I forgot about that part. Yeah. Now that's a great idea.
Yeah, that's comedy gold.
Comedy gold.
That is 40.
That is 40. But yeah, I think I guess like another good one, I never really saw it though, was the one where This Is the End. I never saw that.
This Is the End is great.
Yeah.
I
feel like if there wasn't shit going on with what's his name?
James
Franco, you could do Pineapple Express too.
Oh, for sure.
God, I wish they would.
Yeah.
You can't do Superbad too.
There's so many things where it's like, I wish this guy wasn't a scumbag because I really want this movie. Was it Chappelle has that joke about House of Cards. He's like, what Kevin Spacey did was awful. You know, this 14-year-old had to carry the secret, a man's secret, for 30 years. And if he had only carried it for 6 more months, I would know how House of Cards ends. It's just, yeah. It's fucked.
Yeah, it's true, though. It's very true.
Yeah.
Yeah, damn. He's right. We'll never know.
We'll never know.
We'll never know.
There was a whole season with The Wife, but I never watched it.
Well, that was the last one, right?
That was the last season, yeah.
They just kind of switched the main character.
Yeah.
And they probably rewrote everything last minute. What they probably should have done is just waited a whole other year and gave it more time. I'm sure it couldn't have been good because they probably rushed it. There's no way.
Yeah, no, it was like very last second. And then, I would have loved an alternate ending where Forrest Gump just shows up. He's like, Jenny!
Yeah, plot twist.
Because she's Jenny in Forrest Gump.
Yo, that would be crazy. Yeah. And it's like, you thought you were here, but you've actually been here the whole time.
Yeah.
You know what? Like, that is how you'd get the attention off of Kevin Spacey, too.
100%.
If you really didn't want people talking about, like, all that and how she's replacing him, just make the ending some crazy, like, they were actually, it wasn't real. They were inside a snowball the whole time. Or what's the thing? The snow globe.
Snow globe the whole time.
It was a snow globe the whole time.
Yeah, this entire thing is just a fever dream from the AIDS.
So Obama wakes up. Obama was sleeping.
Obama was sleeping. What?
That would be a cool ending.
Michelle.
Just like a cameo from Obama. Actual Obama. It can't be an actor. It's got to be
we got to get Obama. Yeah, we got to get
holy
Barack.
Shit. They got Barack Obama to dream up House of Cards. That's crazy. That would actually be a smooth move from the writers.
Yeah. That was like the Breaking Bad ending, like the alternate ending. Where
the Malcolm in the Middle.
Yeah, Malcolm in the Middle.
Yeah, they what's cool is they actually filmed that. Mm-hmm. I forget what they did it for. I think what it was a Malcolm in the Middle reunion. Like, I think it was so many years after Malcolm in the Middle had aired.
Like that, yeah. And because I saw a clip where he talked about it, and he was like, I just threw it out there as a joke in the writers' room. And then, like a few months later, they were like, "That was actually a good idea." And he's like, "No, it wasn't." And then they did it.
It's funny because it's literally like been a meme for people have commented that a million times. Like, that will be the end of Breaking Bad.
Oh yeah,
and
that's
they
the ending.
actually film it. Yeah, if only Frankie Muniz were there. Shout out Frankie Muniz, who apparently I don't understand if he can or cannot remember Malcolm in the Middle. But do you remember when that came out?
I think I saw a video where he's like, "Yeah, I remember it." He's like,
exactly.
Yeah, he's like, "There's all these weird articles of like."
But he said he didn't remember it at one point.
Yeah, he might have just been like having a bad day that day. I don't know. Maybe some days he can remember it, some days he can't. I don't know.
That's kind of how dementia works.
That's kind of how it works.
I don't know if it was dementia though. I thought it was like.
They said that there was like brain damage from like car accidents or something. That's what I remember seeing.
My guess is worms in his brain. Get the RFK.
He's got the RFK going on.
That's my guess.
The PFAS chemicals.
The PFAS. It's getting all of us, baby. That's just his little version of it. He just can't remember things. Yeah. Meanwhile, I can't tie my shoes.
Yeah.
There's different things for different people.
Exactly.
We all have our own problems. Yeah, our own strengths, our own weaknesses.
Exactly.
What are your strengths and weaknesses? If you had to think about it, you got a good answer?
Oh, my strengths and weaknesses?
Mm-hmm.
Eye contact is a weakness.
Okay. I'm glad to hear that.
Yeah.
Not the best either.
Not the best at it.
I think it's more of us than you'd think.
Yeah, I think that's just what society is now.
Yeah. I think people are just like not used to it anymore.
Yeah. So much of our communication now is through a screen that when someone looks us in the eye, we're like, what the fuck is going on here?
Yeah. If you don't believe that, sit on a subway train and don't look at anything but the people around you.
Yeah.
See how that goes.
People get tense.
You're like, why is this person looking at me?
Yeah.
Which if you think about it, like, there aren't phones 20 years ago.
Yeah.
You would just look at them.
Yeah. That's what people were doing. They were just looking around, talking to people.
Now we're like, whoa.
Yeah.
Tripping you out.
I'll be outside of my apartment smoking sometimes, and like sometimes I just won't have my phone. I'm just like chilling, and then if somebody walks by, I can feel that there's like a tension with them because they're like, oh, and then if I pull my phone out, it goes away. I pull my phone out and look down, they go, okay. He's no longer a threat.
I try to pay attention to what I do because I have stupid mechanisms. And when I realize I'm doing it, I'm like, dude, why the fuck? Okay, so somebody will make eye contact with me and I'll immediately like look at fucking, what do I look at? I look at like the floor. I look at like the wall. Like, why?
Yeah, where do you go?
It doesn't make any sense. Like, what? Yeah. So if I'm doing that, I'm like, what am I fucking scared of? Like, that's what it makes me think. Like, what am I actually afraid of? What am I doing? Because it's a very weird, it's a very like inhuman thing to be so afraid of looking at people. But I'll catch myself doing it all the time.
Yeah, same.
Yeah, and it's like, it's a weakness. It is a weakness.
Yeah,
I think
so.
Being on stage actually does help with that though. Because you kind of force yourself to, it can be bad for you. A lot of people don't look at the audience, but so you kind of want to. You kind of want to just make sure everybody's like, I've heard some stage people who speak in general say like pick a person and just like kind of go person to person and pick people.
Yeah, usually what I'll do is I'll have like someone to my left, someone to my right, and someone in the middle, and I kind of bounce between the three of them.
You gotta look at them.
Yeah, exactly. I'll be like that, and then like I try to like look back and up a little bit if there's like if it's more crowded room and it's like going back further.
Yeah.
Try to make sure like I'm giving some sort of attention to each section of the room, and then they always say deliver your jokes right down the middle.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Well, not they always said it. Ralphie May said it.
That makes sense.
In a video I watched once.
Was it that hour-long stand-up
the Comedy
thing?
Store one.
Yeah, that's cool that it even exists.
Yeah. I wish there was a lot more of those.
There's some pieces of wisdom in that. I remember the day I watched that because it was when I was switching apartments from this apartment to my previous apartment, and I was like, I had to walk back and forth, and I put that in my ear and I listened to that. And I vividly remember the walk and what he said. Like, some things get etched into your brain. And one of those things was Ralphie May's stand-up comedy tips.
I think everybody that's listened to it, it's just...
Because it's very really good.
It's very good advice, a lot of the stuff he's talking about.
One thing that sticks out to me is don't sleep with anybody involved in, like, so... Just in general, like if you're working in this industry where you have to deal with all these other comics, don't sleep with the person who's just another female comic because she might end up running a venue and then she has this vendetta against you.
This whole thing.
And even if you didn't do anything, just the fact that that's your relationship, and say you do that 2 times, 3 times, now you have all these potential things that'll come up in the future, and you're burning bridges you don't even know you're burning. And like that's 100%. Such good advice. Yeah. In any industry, that's good advice.
I think it's important to have like a life outside of that thing that you're doing, like whether it be music or comedy. You should have like your own home life that's separate, so that way you have something to escape to, you know?
Yeah, or else you're crazy.
Yeah, otherwise you just fall into it, and that's just your entire life and personality, which is fine, but...
I think that's how comics become that thing where it's like they joke about the life of a famous comic. You see that thing play out over and over. Like if you have nothing else to talk about except your life is the famous comic, you start joking about that.
Yeah, that was like the Kevin Hart thing. It was just like his first couple specials were bangers, and then he blew up and became huge. And he's talking about how he has like a really long driveway, a mansion. And it's like, okay, cool.
And that's the danger.
Yeah.
It's like, for one, you don't want to get too successful. But the other thing is you have to have a normal, even if you are successful, you have to like live a life.
Yeah.
You have to find a way to do it.
And I think that's the thing with comics is once they get to a certain level of success, they have to start becoming more profound than they are funny. Like that was like...
Really?
Yeah, I mean, like, you look at Carlin, you look at Chappelle, Bill Hicks and stuff. There's a certain
Norm
level.
Macdonald, I would say.
Macdonald, yeah. There's a certain time where it's like they're no longer relatable because of the life that they have, but people are willing to listen to their thoughts on life.
Wow.
And there's comics that are trying to do that when they first start. Nobody knows who the fuck they are.
Yeah.
There's ones that are trying to be profound. It's like, why would anyone care what you have to say right now? You know, you're like a 24-year-old. No one knows who the hell you are.
Yeah.
But like, you know, those older comics that have been around for a long time and they've built, you know, a career and have had big success, they have more freedom and wiggle room to actually have thoughts.
My question then would be, I guess, like those people, were they always like that? Like, was Bill Hicks always that type of profound?
Yeah, Bill Hicks is a bad example. He was always like that.
I think, wouldn't Carlin be the same too, though?
No, Carlin he started like in the 50s on like a radio show.
Really?
Yeah, and then he was like a clean cut comedy guy on TV, just doing like really, you know, it's like Catskills type of jokes and like variety shows. He was and then he was on like a TV show where he was the hippy dippy weatherman. But like a lot of his stuff in those times was like just wordplay and like observational stuff. It really wasn't anything political or in depth. It wasn't until like the 90s when he had like a big comeback because he fell off in like the 80s. There was times where they were like there's a famous clip of or sketch from like a Canadian sketch show where they were making fun of him because he's constantly just like, apple fruit, what is that? Just like, you know, at the time his biggest joke was the 7 words you can't say on television,
right?
Know, which is great, you know. But later he's talking about like suicide and war and political stuff and the environment and religion and death and things like that. Later,
it makes me think too about
he had to do all that to earn the right to talk about these really big topics, you know?
Yeah, because I was going to say, it makes me think about like how comedy is different too, where it's like you could be the person who does it for 40 years and hit your prime 40 years into your career.
Yeah.
Because of those other 30 years.
Yeah, when people think of Carlin, they think of the last like 10 years of his career.
Yeah.
But he was around for a long time doing comedy. He lived through so many decades of comedy, and those decades themselves were so like important to how art in the world is, our modern day is crafted too. Like he started in the 50s. Just think of the difference between 55 and 65 culturally in the country. And then again, another 10 years to 75, all the different cultural shifts that happened in that entire range. And to be a comedian through all of that. It gets you someone who's a little fucking jaded by the end. Someone who's a little pissed off, you know. It gets you Carlin, who's loud and angry and, you know, railing against religion and everything in the system.
Wow.
Yeah.
I never really thought of it like that. Like, it's like if you take somebody who sees the simplicity of that system in like the 50s, and then they just see it corrupt and grow, and the cancer grows and grows and grows, and then 40 years later, you're just this bitter person who's seen it destroy itself. Yeah. And so, of course, you're going to, like, he truly would be the canary in the coal mine in that situation.
100%.
He's the one who really does know.
Yeah, there's a HBO, I think it's like a 3-part series on Carlin. It's really good. That kind of dives into all that stuff and like his feelings about a lot of stuff.
Is it his whole life or is it?
I think it's his whole life. Yeah, it starts with his like childhood and then goes into like his comedy life and stuff.
Wow.
Like the different eras of Carlin.
He would be the Mount Rushmore, right? He'd be on that Mount Rushmore, you think?
For sure.
Yeah. Because I mean, Carlin is one of those. I think. I don't know. Like, who else is on it? I'm trying to think of like the. It's hard to say.
Yeah, there's different eras where, and like different types of people, but I think there's certain comics that like everyone agrees is just great. You know, like Chappelle, I think would be up there too.
Yeah.
Everyone disagrees. Chappelle, Carlin, Richard Pryor.
Yeah, Pryor. Yeah.
Maybe those 3 guys. Maybe I don't know. Maybe Hicks was great. He didn't really do that much though.
I feel like Norm Macdonald would go on there before Hicks.
Yeah, Norm Macdonald probably before Hicks.
But I don't know who would go before Norm. That's what I'm trying to think.
That's where you could put Lenny Bruce at the beginning. They just because they call him like the godfather of modern day comedy.
Yeah, because if you're thinking of Mount Rushmore as like the foundation of it.
Yeah, the foundation of what today's comedy is. You know, Lenny Bruce, Carlin, Dave Chappelle.
Yeah, Chappelle is so much in modern comedy, isn't he? He's kind of like an evolution of Pryor into like modern day. In a way.
Louis C.K., I guess, too. You could put him up there, but he'd be jerking off.
You'd have to add a dick further down.
You'd have to add a dick further down. Yeah.
It's like, what's down there?
It's just him jerking off.
Just like your mountain is committing a crime.
Yeah.
How American, dude.
Yeah.
I would like that. I would actually like that. You know,
yeah.
It'd be kind of cool. And on the Mount Rushmore of comedy, you have somebody flashing somebody. Like, it seems very fitting. Yeah.
There's a fake Mount Rushmore right by Rushmore. Because when I did that run of shows, I've done it twice now where I go out there. And there's like a fake Mount Rushmore where it's just like it's basically just in like a yard of a Dollar Tree.
Yeah.
Or Dollar General. But it's pretty big. And it's like stone statues, but it's like Reagan, JFK, George Bush. And like it's just really weird. It's just in the middle of just like this giant field of like right in front of like a Dollar General.
You know, it'd be really fun is like you take a foreign person who's like not familiar.
Tell them that's Mount Rushmore.
Tell them they saw it. Like you take them all the way there.
Yeah.
I'm saying like you go the whole 9 yards. Like, you drive the whole way there with your Chinese friend. You're like, we're gonna see Mount Rushmore. You gotta find somebody who's like just gullible enough. That'd be the hard part. Yeah. Like, get your Indian friend who only listens to Indian music. And doesn't do anything else. You just go to his house. It's like that's the guy you take to Mount Rushmore.
Is this Thomas Jefferson? Yeah.
Tell him it's the wrong people.
Yeah.
Dude, you could pull so many pranks.
Oh yeah.
If you were introducing your foreign friend to American culture, there's so much shit you could probably like. If you were really trying to gaslight them, you could do so much damage to their fucking.
Great, yeah.
Every time you go to a restaurant, you take your shoes off.
Yeah, everyone. It's just American culture, yeah.
Like, why is nobody else doing it? They're disrespectful.
Yeah,
you're being
assholes live over here.
When you see people looking at you, that's because they're impressed.
Yeah.
He's just really confused why people are getting mad all the time. I'm taking your advice, dude. I think they're racist. That's what I think. I think they don't like you because they're racist. I think you're doing the right stuff, dude. I think that it's them.
Yeah.
You're in America. America is racist.
America's racist. It makes sense.
It all adds up in his head.
Oh, yeah, I get it. Yeah.
You could destroy their life.
Yeah.
If you just need the right guy. That's what I'm saying. You need somebody who's just go like I'm talking like. He's like a dog. Like with my dog will fall for anything I tell him. Yeah. Somebody who's dog level intelligence.
Dog level intelligence.
That's what you need.
Oh, you don't need someone foreign then. I've got like a cousin. I'm sure we could.
We've got Americans for that.
Yeah, we got Americans we could gaslight into that.
I think we've got a lot of Americans that are dog level. Sometimes I wonder, am I dog level intelligence? You ever have that thought? You're like, am I just as stupid as I think everyone else is?
Yeah, and I've definitely met dogs where I'm like, you might be smarter than me.
Right.
Yeah.
Start looking at them like.
I'm like, if you just learned English, you would do really well.
I mean, I just need opposable thumbs.
Yeah.
As soon as they get those, they can grip things.
What's the biggest benefit? I don't
grip.
I don't feel like I'm gripping enough stuff to really.
You don't realize. You're not thinking about it.
Like I can get my Mountain Dew without my thumbs, you know.
How you gonna open it?
Fuck! I need these thumbs. You're right.
Yeah.
Yep. Well played.
You don't realize what you've got.
Yeah.
These opposable thumbs are like fucking one of the few things that separate us from the other. Yeah. I think like primates. I mean, monkeys. They've got opposable thumbs. What else?
Yeah, they don't have a Kia Sportage.
Exactly. Dolphins are really smart. Yeah. But what the fuck else they're doing?
Yeah.
Nothing.
Yeah.
They're swimming around the ocean, fucking honking at each other.
They don't even have Xbox like the original.
And they can't play Portal. They can't play Half-Life.
Exactly.
They can't play fucking Elder Scrolls. Yeah. What are they doing?
Fucking losers.
They could get eaten by a shark in the giant ocean. If you're a monkey, you could get killed and raped by another monkey.
Yeah.
Who's just trying to show the other monkeys who's boss.
Yeah.
I could show you who's boss on 2K. See what I'm saying?
Yeah, here you get killed and raped by, a neighbor. It's
with thumbs.
With thumbs. Yeah. They can choke you out because they have thumbs.
Yeah. And monkeys can do that too.
Monkeys can choke you out. Yeah, that's true.
Monkeys can choke you out. I feel like they would choke you out for less.
Yeah. But a neighbor can play music while he does it.
he can turn on a playlist.
He can record it.
And post it somewhere.
Play it for your family. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's the difference between humans and monkeys.
There's all kinds of different things you could do. You can't have a Jeffrey Dahmer monkey.
Right.
You just can't have it.
There's no Dahmer monkey.
There's no equivalent of Ted Bundy in the gorilla world.
Where are we right now? I'm trying to follow.
Well, I think I actually think that makes sense.
Yeah.
Because I was thinking of the good things you could do with thumbs, but when you think about it, a lot of the evil things humans do are because we have thumbs.
Yeah. Swords.
Yeah. Monkeys. If you had any animal, I don't even think you could get a gorilla to wield a sword. Yeah. Now that I would like.
That would be
to
crazy.
See.
Yeah.
Yo.
Isn't that pretty much what Planet of the Apes is? It's just
monkeys with guns.
Monkeys with guns and swords and stuff. Yeah,
it kind of is. Well, they can talk though. Could they talk in the original movies?
I don't remember.
I never saw any of them.
Yeah, same.
But I think if they can talk, it's different. Because I think once you add talking in, that's the question. Is how much of it is the thumbs? How much of it's the talking? How much of it's what is the... Because you know what's really interesting about gorillas and monkeys is that we didn't even know that much about them until Jane Austen went and looked at them 50 years ago. We barely even knew.
Yeah.
We think we know about monkeys, but we really only started learning this shit recently. Yeah, and they're so similar to us.
Yeah.
Sure, they do shit that seems... it's crazy we even have them in zoos when you really think about it. When you look at a monkey in a zoo, that's pretty much like a dude.
Right, yeah. Yeah, but what is a trailer park if not a white trash zoo? Just going, you can drive through any time and just see a bunch of crazy shit, It's
kind of the same.
Kind of the same thing,
Tell your foreign friend that's the zoo.
That's the zoo. My dad used to bring us to the pet store and tell us it was the zoo. That's a real thing.
Really?
Yeah.
That's some poor people's shit right there.
Yeah. He'd be like, this is the aquarium, this is the zoo.
And it'd be like, as a kid, that's fun.
Yeah.
As a kid, you're like, hell yeah. They've got goldfish at the zoo. Yeah. This is fucking crazy. Tell your friends about all the beta fish you saw at the zoo. Dude, you have no idea.
They got Labradors at the zoo.
They got 2 turtles.
Yeah, they got 2 turtles.
Yeah. They were training a dog while I was there. It was crazy.
Can you imagine growing up here and just the Lincoln Park Zoo is just there?
Yeah, I actually can't imagine that.
I can't imagine living in Chicago. Yeah,
because if you're not from Chicago, you don't realize it's free.
Yeah, they got me the first time I went there. I didn't realize it was free.
Oh, they got you.
They stand out front. They're like donations or whatever, and they didn't say that it was a donation based until I'd already pulled out my wallet and I had a 20 in my hand.
Wow.
And I was like. And I can't go back and get a smaller bill. I just gave them a 20 for me and my fiance. I'm like, Jesus. Well played.
They probably get a lot of people that way, though.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, they wait till you walk right up to them and you get the money out and you're like, oh, it's donation-based, by the way.
Yeah. They learned a lot from those people handing out magazines near the train station and shit like that. Just throw it in front of their face and make it seem like they have to hand you money.
Exactly.
And they will do it.
Yeah.
You basically hypnotize them like you're on stage. You just trick them with your magic trick and fucking throw money at you.
Yeah, comedians are bad at hypnotizing because we don't get money out of it. We just make you laugh and then let you go. It's catch and release.
Yeah, you need to come up with a joke where it's like, hey, can everybody throw a 20 on stage?
Yeah. Give me your fucking wallet right now.
If you're that funny.
Yeah. So I got this really good joke where I just pull out a gun and rob the audience.
It always kills.
Always kills.
It kills
somebody.
Every time. Yeah. But yeah, what the fuck was I gonna say
growing
about
up here?
Well, I mentioned the people who say the magazine thing because I was comparing it to
the donation thing at the zoo.
Thing at the zoo, yeah, because
they just get you.
The zoo in general. Growing up here with the zoo, yes, growing up with the zoo, that's crazy because just having a zoo right next to you that you can go to, you could go to a zoo and just take a walk. Essentially through the park, which is also the zoo,
and there's just
for free.
There's just a lion over there. It's just you're just getting coffee in Lincoln Park, and you're like, if we just walk over there, there's a fucking polar bear just chilling. What? Yeah, in 15 minutes we can be looking at a polar bear right now
for my work break.
Yeah, right out. Yeah, from you can go on break at work and go look at the polar bear.
Just watch the penguins
and then go take a runny dump.
Yeah, it's right there.
A Chicago dog. Yeah.
Yeah, your cheap Chicago dog. That is, dude, that's an experience for real.
Yeah.
And I don't even think they have that in very many other cities. I don't think most cities have like a free zoo. I think it's probably
a free zoo. No, yeah, we had a zoo in Grand Rapids, but it wasn't free.
None of them are.
Yeah, no,
it's rare. That's one of those like things that I feel like kind of is, again, I feel like Chicago. There's little things where it's like I could see why this is like a community type place.
Sure.
There seems to be so much where it's like they want there to be things to do all the time. They want to attract people to the city. They're not trying to push people away like it seems like other places might be. I feel like in Miami, they're kind of cool with like just having the Miami people. They don't need the tourists.
Hi, dear.
Yeah, here it is happening again, folks. It's happening again.
I've got a lot of salt in my face. Yeah, 70 grams, 105 milligrams of sodium. And we all wonder why we're fucking sore all the time, just bloated and our joints hurt.
Yeah. You do any, you take any antioxidants? You fuck with antioxidants, bro?
No.
I'm telling you.
What they're doing.
That tart cherry juice, bro?
Oh, I take tart cherry because I have gout. So I'll take it for my gout sometimes.
Shit's fire.
Yeah.
Love that tart cherry. CBD is good for an antioxidant, I think. Fucking, I can't think of, like, just think this is fruits and vegetables. I really think it's like a lot of
eating not poison. Just eating regular food is probably better for you.
Yeah, which is not easy as he reaches for the Pepsi again.
I know. That's the thing, though. It's just so addictive and it's so good.
I know.
Sometimes when you just have a shitty day, there's nothing better than just cramming your face with awful food.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And, like, I say I haven't eaten fast food in a long time. But I don't blame anybody if they're like getting out of work and it's like midnight and the only thing they want to do is stop in a McDonald's and get fucking 3 McDoubles and just stuff them in their face.
Oh yeah, it's the best feeling on the planet.
Exactly.
Yeah,
I
better
completely
than sex.
Understand. Of course it is.
Yeah,
and I can't blame you.
The amount of times I've been caught by friends casually, they just happen to be like in my neighborhood and I'm just in my car eating Taco Bell or eating McDonald's shamefully. It's more than 3 times. It's a weird thing.
Basically like getting caught jerking off.
Yeah,
it's the same shame.
I would prefer that they catch me jerking off.
It's like, I'm sorry, I won't do it again. It's like they're telling you, I don't care, you do whatever you want. It's like, no, really, I won't do it again.
I won't do it again. Yeah.
They really don't care, but you care.
No, it's fine. It's like, no, I didn't want you to see me like this. No one's supposed to see me like this.
Not who I am.
Yeah, I don't even go to the same Taco Bell too many times because I don't want them to recognize me. You ever have that where you go to like the same place too many times, they get too familiar with you?
Yeah.
Yeah, they start asking about your life. You're like, that's not what this is. This is
this is wrong.
Yeah, I'm doing something wrong here. I need you to just do the transaction, keep it moving, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I liked it better when you were just the mysterious Euro man. Now you're trying to ask me about like
you're seeing me at my worst and you're trying to engage with me at my worst.
Yeah. I don't want anybody seeing me here.
It's like when your mom calls while you're mid jerk off session. It's like, fuck. There's humanity here.
Yeah.
You gotta become a person
arrives
again.
At your door. Yeah. What are you gonna do? It's like a moral question at that point. Like, do I answer the phone or do I keep jerking off? If I don't answer the phone, I'm kind of a piece of shit because my mom. Anything could happen.
Yeah,
like, that might be the last chance I could have talked to my mom.
Yeah, but then also, do you want to answer the phone because you're definitely not going to get soft right away.
Yeah, dead grandma. So
then you're just talking to your mom while you're hard. And that's a whole other thing.
It's a moral dilemma. Dude, we're like modern philosophers.
Definitely.
Wow. What would you do?
What would I do
in that situation?
Oh yeah, no, I would. I would just call her back. Yeah, I already dodge your calls just in general.
Well, you'd finish jerking off?
Yeah, I'd finish jerking off. And then I probably wouldn't even call her back then. It'd be like a day later.
I'd probably be about the same.
Yeah. You know, my mom calls a good amount throughout the week, and so I'm always just like, I'll call her on like Saturday or something when I have time.
Yeah.
I'm a bad son. When she dies, I'll feel those emotions then. But
I don't know. There's a balance to it because it's like, especially if you move away, like you leave the nest, you know? Yeah. All parents are different, so it's different for everybody. But I feel like, I don't know, like, you know, some people, they'll talk to their parents every single day.
Yeah, I never
for
understood
an hour
those people.
Every day.
Yeah.
Like updating your parents every day. It's like, I don't think you should talk to anyone every day unless they're like your significant other.
Even then.
Maybe like your immediate
Take
child.
a day.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Like it's actually, yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Because I think like what happens is through that one relationship, your whole personality becomes more codependent because of that.
And like, you got to have stuff to talk about. You know, like when what's been going on? You got to catch them up on like your life. If you're talking to them every day, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
What are you talking about them every day for an hour?
It's possible if you have like a really you could if you have like a really good relationship with somebody.
Yeah.
Like if it's really good and you guys really feed off of each other, but like rarely is it actually that with like close family.
You know, when I talk to my family, it feels like a board meeting where I'm just like, this is the current status update.
Yes.
This is what we did last quarter.
One thing that always happens to me when I'm talking to my family for too long is I'll realize like, oh my God, if I did this forever, I would do nothing. It really sets in. Like when I'm talking to other people, not so much. But like if you do that with your family, you're like, whoa. Like if I just talk to you for 4 hours every day, all day, every day, like, which is what some people do. If I did that all the time, I would go nowhere and I would do nothing. Yeah. It's dangerous. You cannot do that.
There's some people that's all they do. They get out of work and then they just get on the phone and start talking to like their mom or something.
That's crazy.
And then they talk to their mom on their way to have dinner with their mom.
You know? I mean, like, and for the mom, it's probably awesome.
Oh, yeah.
For the mom, it's like, yes. Like I never lost my child. They're with me forever.
Then you have to deal with having a fucking loser for a kid. You know?
They probably wanted that though. They probably created it.
Oh yeah. Oh, for sure.
Like if not on purpose, inadvertently. You know, like they just somehow it kind of happens naturally. Like, because obviously some kids will reject that, but I think if you're the kid who's gonna call your mom every day, you're probably the person who was designed to do it. Yeah, I would never.
Well, yeah, because you wouldn't feel independent or like safe on your own. You feel like you have to call your parents every day. You know?
Yeah, I remember when I was moving into a house with somebody. My sister was renting out her house, and so I was looking for somebody to move in with me, and there was this rapper I knew, like this guy who I had met through doing stuff like that, and so I had him come look at the house, and we were just looking at it together, and he was saying shit, like he was looking around the house, he was like, okay, well, we could hire like a cleaning service. I'm like, oh, we don't really need to do that, you know? All right, whatever you say, man. And then he said, well, I'm gonna need to call my mom and like ask her about all this and like tell her what's going on. And I was like, what are you talking about? And he's like, well, I just need to make sure that she's cool with it, like this is. And I had been to his house before, and he had a single mom, and he kind of like grew up close to his mom, and it made me realize like, holy shit, this guy really doesn't feel comfortable doing anything without talking to his mom first. Like it made me
crazy.
Realize he's serious.
Yeah.
He's not like trying to not say something to me. Like it wasn't like he was trying to like, oh, I'm not sure, I'm gonna use my mom as an excuse. He really wanted to talk to his mom first.
Yeah, he just wanted to get her insight.
He's like, Mom, I don't know about this, or like, Mom, what do you think? Like, is it okay if I move away, Mom? Is that really okay with you if I move away, Mom? That's what I think the conversation really
100%,
was.
yeah.
He was moving
and they
away.
probably like decided on how far he could go and like what areas he was allowed to stay in, and yeah, you probably got vetted beforehand too. Yeah, she probably did like a whole background check on you.
Vetted, yes.
Yeah.
And that's just like, that's what you end up with if you have that relationship. Yeah. You end up becoming like basically like this weird symbiotic.
Yeah, I've met a handful of those types of guys like in college and stuff where it's just like they can't do anything without their parents.
Strange.
Yeah.
It's odd.
Yeah.
I can understand being reliant on your parents for material things. Like obviously you shouldn't take that too far, but I can understand that.
Yeah, especially like in your early days. But like they can't just make any decisions.
That's
or
crazy.
Like figure out how to figure anything out. Like if their car like breaks down, they just don't know what to do.
Yeah.
And, like I understand like not being good with cars, but like you don't know like, okay, should I call a mechanic or maybe look to see if there's anything under the hood that looks crazy, or I don't know, Google a couple things, you know. Google the symptoms.
Just cut to my engine smoking and me hyperventilating, you know.
Right. Or like if you have to like, you know, call your cable company, you know. You don't have to write out a whole script beforehand and then go over it with your parents to make sure.
Yeah. Right. And it's
like
like
how to do that, you know.
And that dude, it just fucks people up because like say you're that parent and then you just die, like now that kid's just fucked,
they're just fucked. They don't know how to do anything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're like, so fucked.
Yeah.
Completely.
Yeah.
Like, they have a chance, but they have to reevaluate the entire world.
Yeah.
That's the only way.
Yeah, and they never know how to cook anything either. They never know how to cook anything for themselves.
Oh my God.
They just fucking DoorDash everything or go get fast food for everything. And they drink a lot of Diet Coke.
Yeah.
I'm getting very specific now.
These are real people I know.
These are real people, yeah.
I know, there was a friend I had who moved in with another friend I had, and they were related. So, like, he was doing his cousin a favor. Yeah. And while he was my first friend, he had, was very reliant on his mom, so he's living with my other friend who's independent. And while he was there, I remember my second friend tells me that he saw him look up a YouTube video on how to cook eggs.
That's crazy.
That was one of the most wild things I'd ever heard.
That's wild.
Imagine being like 20 years old.
Not knowing how to cook eggs.
Being too nervous.
That's insane.
It's insane.
And that person's allowed to drive, allowed to vote.
It's so crazy. Like, I heard that and I was like, what?
Yeah.
I actually, it blew my mind a little bit.
Yeah.
Because it makes you realize,
basic life skills. Some people just never got it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like, parents are dangerous, dude. Yeah. I would be scared to be a parent because I feel like there's so much you do on accident. That's why I say, whether or not on purpose or inadvertently, because a lot of those mistakes you make on accident. You don't even realize you're fucking your kid up. You think you're doing the right thing. You think, you want somebody who's going to stick with you. You rationalize these things.
Yeah, you're like, oh, well, I love my kid. I would love to have them by me.
Yes.
Why wouldn't I wouldn't ever tell them they can't stay with me or whatever.
And maybe they saw their parents do that, or maybe their parents
do these things by themselves. Yeah. I would never make them cook. They should never.
They should never, ever, ever have to make a phone call. I should make the phone calls for them. They shouldn't. They shouldn't have to talk to adults. They shouldn't have to talk to adults.
Yeah.
They shouldn't have to. If they have friends over, they should have to speak with me first.
Yeah.
That they should have to do, because I don't want somebody in my house without
100%.
me knowing. But also, they can't move away until they're at least 45.
100%. Yeah.
It's very strange, this dynamic of human beings.
Yeah.
And it's probably way more parents than you'd realize, Yeah. It's the opposite end of the spectrum of being the parent that just leaves.
Right.
It's the complete opposite. Instead of walking out, you just never do.
I think one does more good for the other. I think a parent that leaves does more good for their kid than one that overbears and overspoils and stuff.
I think you're right.
Yeah, as far as survival tactics,
mm-hmm. You're so right, because as sad as it is to be alone in the world, that probably is so much better.
Yeah,
than
it creates good people.
Yeah.
Some of the best people have had the hardest childhoods.
And that's why I think being a parent is so gray. There's no black and white morality to it. People like to think there's good parents and bad parents, but it's every single individual issue, there's so much gray area surrounding it.
Yeah.
Even with people who say you can't lay your hands on your kids, but then other people say, well, you can spank your kids if they do things wrong. And it's who am I to tell you what you can and can't do with your kids? But I don't like the idea of at all touching a kid in a violent way. I just think that's crazy.
Well, I think just in society we don't hit each other when we have problems. Sometimes
Hopefully.
we do. Yeah, but we are in Chicago. Sometimes you gotta pop off.
And I think it becomes a cycle of violence if you start to do it, and that's why I wouldn't endorse it. But who am I to say whether or not you're morally evil if you fucking think that? And that's and it's every single issue with parenting. It's all of it. And there's so many people who say oh, I'm glad my parents disciplined me in such a way because I wouldn't have been who I am. And it's are they just coping or are they right? I don't know. I actually don't know.
Yeah.
It's impossible to actually know.
Yeah.
What is good parenting? I don't know.
I know a bad parent. We all know what bad parenting looks like.
Yeah.
What is good parenting?
That's a great way to put it. Exactly.
Yeah.
We can all see bad parenting.
Yeah. We can see some asshole and be okay, I understand how we got here.
Yeah.
But then you see someone that's good, you're okay, well, would they have been good despite the situation that they had, or did they have to become that person through their situation?
And that's the other thing is you don't want to raise your kids in too good of a situation because you had a bad situation.
Yeah, you don't want to spoil them, but you also don't want to traumatize them.
Yeah, what's the balance?
Where's the balance?
Yeah.
Someone had that joke about you want to hit your kid just enough that he becomes Michael Jackson, but not so hard that he fucks kids.
Good point. It's a great
There's
point.
A balance.
There's a balance to it. Yeah, because it's so hard to walk that line, to actually know, to get it right. Because I think often the fuck up is like you support your kid too much, and then now your kid is over reliant on your support and they want to see you.
Yeah.
Like, I'm actually glad that my parents never really paid too much attention to the things that I do. Like, they never really, like, if I did music, if I did like video, like because I did YouTube stuff when I was like 10, like if I did that stuff, they never really cared.
Yeah.
But that's actually better than if they were like, oh, good job, oh, you're doing great.
Yeah, because
like,
you
that's
think
so
you're
cool.
amazing, and then you don't really get better at it.
And then if
like,
people didn't
awesome.
do that, I would be like, why aren't they supporting me like my parents did? Like, why aren't they getting all hyped up about this?
Right.
'Cause the truth is, nobody gives a fuck.
Yeah, no one gives a fuck.
Who cares? But your parents can trick you into thinking they care.
Yeah, exactly. That's the dangerous part. Is like, yeah, parents can make you believe that other people's opinion matters, and that people will. That if people don't like you, it matters.
Yeah.
Or that.
And I'm so glad they just didn't really do that, because it makes me realize, oh, nobody. It does not matter at all. Whatever anybody says.
Person that cares about their own shit. No,
yes. Yeah, and I think a lot of comedians are probably just neglected children.
Oh, 100%.
Big part of it.
Yeah.
Like, not even necessarily like children that had bad upbringings, but just neglected. Like,
something was neglected for sure. Either emotionally neglected or physically neglected.
It's a key ingredient.
Yeah,
you need it a little.
You need a little neglect to make a good comic.
Just and somewhere in life, I think in art in general, you need a little neglect. You got to have a little neglect. You can't just have it all good, you know?
Yeah.
There's a few rare breakthroughs, you know? Shout out Matt Rife, you know?
Yep.
I do like Matt Rife.
Didn't his like dad die or something when he was a kid?
Oh,
yeah,
maybe.
I think it was like dad died or his dad left or something.
There it is.
Something like that, yeah.
I didn't know that.
All comedians.
I take my shout out back.
Or revoke my shout out.
Revoke. I here solemnly swear. Matt Rife, you can explain yourself on this couch. I'll have you in here. I'm trying to think like who's like the perfect, because I feel like I don't know how it works. Like, how do you get a big guest for a podcast? Do you have like a good idea?
It's all about people you know.
I know.
It's all about people you know. Yeah.
I don't know if it's just like
you got to know
going up
people.
the ladder.
Yeah, yeah. You got to slowly work your way up the ladder.
Can't just have fucking. I'm trying to think.
I mean, like there's comics in this city that are connected to bigger people, you know, and so it's like.
Jeff Ross was just in roast battle.
That's what I'm saying. Is like. There's not that much disconnection between us and like mainstream.
Well, you know what I always say is it's like if you ever heard like the 7 degrees of Kevin Bacon, the 7 degrees of separation.
Yeah, exactly.
It's everything in life, you know.
Yeah.
That's one thing that, again, like what I was saying about Chicago and the community and how comedy has that community. That's what's so cool about it.
Yeah.
Everybody is kind of interconnected.
Yeah, and it's really like 2 degrees at this point with comedy. It's like you're
within
always...
a bubble within a bubble.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Because, I mean, it's like the comedy people all know the comedy people, and that's just one circle, whereas like there's 7 degrees of separation for everything. Yeah. But it would just be 2.
Yeah, and the way to move up is just to mix with all the different bubbles. Just bubble around. Have a bubble party.
Bubble up.
Yeah, bubble up. You gotta bubble up.
That'd be my next single, dude.
Bubble up.
Bubble up. But I like that. It sounds provocative, but really I'm just saying.
Sorry, I got bubble up in my head. Bubble up. Gobble up.
Hell yeah, dude. I'm going to feature you on this song.
Let's go.
I'll find a way. I'm trying to... That's another fun idea I have is like, maybe I should turn all these comedians into rappers somehow. Like I have enough comedians on my show that I can convince to be on songs.
Yeah.
I could become the guy that like tricks comedians into doing rap songs.
I'm down. I'll spit some bars. I used to make beats and stuff. Yeah.
Really? You said something about producing.
Yeah, I went to school for music production. I wanted to be like a film composer, but like I've... I spent a lot of time making beats and different music tracks and stuff like that.
And then when you say a lot of time...
Well, like I went to college for it, and then when I was in LA, I was interning for Heitor Piera. He's like a big composer. He did like the Despicable Me movies, all like the imagination stuff. He did the music for. He worked down the hall from Hans Zimmer.
Wow. Yeah. Like 2 degrees of separation.
Yeah, exactly.
That's crazy.
Yeah. I got to see them when they were scoring the most recent Pirates movie, which was cool, Pirates of the Caribbean.
Wow.
But that's what I wanted to do for the longest time because I was just really into music, and I did comedy as like a kind of like a side fun thing. It wasn't like my career. And then the more I got into that world, the more I just didn't like it. I had built like my own home studio, and I did like music library stuff, which for people that don't know, that's where like you work for a music library. They'll say, hey, this client wants something that sounds like this. Make something as close as you can without us getting sued. That's usually what they do.
Right. Because they like, is it like they film something already?
Yeah.
And what they can do is they can use a generic score
exactly
to edit it, so they can get everything edited into like a mock-up essentially, and then you add the music on afterwards.
Yeah, and that if you look back at like Star Wars and all those movies, the reason that it's like a more of a classical score is because they were referencing classical music when they were editing it. They were listening to like Gustav Holst, who was John Williams' biggest inspiration.
That's cool though.
Yeah, but they like put that in as temp music, and that's what they do for like commercials. Yeah, that's what they do for like commercials and for other projects and stuff. Is they'll put temp music in, and then be like, "Can you create something that sounds like this, but it's original?" And then they'll license it from you, pay you like a licensing fee, then you get some sort of royalties, not much.
Okay.
So I did that for a little bit. Didn't make a ton of money, but a little bit. And I just didn't like it.
Because
I didn't like making it was a lot of just generic stuff that I wasn't really feeling creative doing.
Right.
And music was more of like my own personal thing, I think.
You never really got into the idea of making like instrumentals for any other any other context?
I did a lot of different stuff. Like I made beats. I did scores for short films. I made my own songs and stuff, like my own tracks and like my own actual songs and stuff, but
that wasn't making money, right?
Yeah, that wasn't making money. And then I got into the world where I was like hanging out with music people, and I just didn't like it. Like I think LA was a big part of that. Is like the more I got into the world, the more I just didn't like it. I didn't like the people.
Well, the LA music community, I'm sure, is like predators and prey.
And it just takes so much of like the creativity out of stuff and just makes it all about the industry part of it.
Yeah.
And then
I'm sure the film industry.
Yeah, and there's a lot of people that are just trying to fuck you, and like they're not even like being like malicious about it. That's just how it goes. It's just like the way that works out there. It's just like, if I can fuck you, I'm gonna fuck you, and you're just constantly on guard of just like everyone you're talking to. They're like, how are they trying to use me? How are they trying to fuck me? There's no genuine connections with anybody out there, it feels like.
Yeah.
And so, the more I got into that world, the more I just didn't like it. And I realized I was a better comedian than I was a composer. And so I kind of made the switch around 2019, and then the world shut down.
It's funny. Yeah. Having done this podcast with Chicago comedians long enough, I think I've had like 40 comedians on here about now.
Yeah.
It's crazy the amount of people who say that story. Like they started around 2018, 2019.
Yeah.
And like then I would say almost like 25% or more.
Yeah.
Have said that.
And like when I say 2019, that's when I made it like my full time. Like, this is my goal. This is my passion. This is what I want to do as a career. I had been doing mics and stuff since like 2014. Up until that point, I'd still, like in college, I started doing it, and I would do like maybe 2 or 3 mics a month,
but not taking it seriously.
Yeah, it wasn't taking it seriously. I was just like, I've always loved comedy, and I was like, I want to do this on the side as like my own thing.
So like at that point in time, would you say like you had material, or were you just going up there and bullshitting?
Yeah, like I got like a type 5 pretty quick. I was obsessed with comedy as a kid. Like, they had Pandora Radio. There was a comedy station.
Yeah,
I would listen to that
every. A few of those.
Yeah, I listened to that every night to fall asleep. Like, that's what I listened to as I was sleeping, was Pandora Radio. So I
just getting indoctrinated into comedy and sleep.
I have like a autistic brain for comedy now. I did it to
probably
myself.
Good.
Yeah,
it's probably good. Like there's something probably really smart about like listening to it while you fall asleep as a kid. I'm sure that would.
Yeah, and I listened to it all the time too, just during the day. I was watching specials and listening to comedy.
Was it like the comedy greats and all those guys, or was it just everybody?
Everybody, yeah. A lot of the greats, to start off with, but then like whoever was modern at the time, Yeah. And so by the time I actually started doing
that's
comedy,
how you know so much about Dane Cook.
Yeah, that's one. That's one of the ways. But by the time I actually started doing it, I came up with a good 5 minutes pretty quick because I knew how to think like a comedian. It wasn't like killer. Like I wouldn't do it today.
Yeah.
But like I got enough to like at least go out and do mics, and I did that kind of sporadically throughout college, and then like maybe I did added like another 5 minutes while I was in LA. So I had like a good 10 to 15 minutes most.
Over how many years?
Between 14 to 19. So like, was that 5 years?
Yeah.
Yeah.
which is like.
But and that's
for people
also,
who don't understand comedy, like that's it sounds crazy. Like 10 minutes over 5 years.
Yeah, and that's doing mics like maybe 2 or 3 times a month over that time.
Yeah.
And then 2019 is where I kicked it into overdrive, and that's where I started going to mics every night and writing all the time. And then I got to the point where like I got passed at the Comedy Union, which was this comedy club in LA that's I think closed now. But I got passed there because I won like a competition at the Ice House, and then I was performing at the Ha Ha Comedy Club, and I had done a couple shows at the Comedy Store, and like this has all happened like in like 2019, and then we get into 2020, and I'm about to have like my first like featuring gig for this comic at the Improv in Irvine, and then a couple other big shows that were coming up, and then it all just went away. In like 1 week, everything was just gone. All the people and like the connections I had made, they were like going back to being car salesmen because they couldn't afford to make a living doing comedy anymore. You know, it was all just gone. And then I moved back to Grand Rapids, and I kind of like I mentioned to you before we were recording. That's when I realized it was like the incubator city, you know.
Yeah.
And I just spent 2 years just doing the same thing, grinding, because in Michigan, COVID wasn't really happening. It was. The biggest change was that the bars had to close at 11:30 for a while. That was about it. But yeah, I did mics every night, and I got really involved with this community there, and I started like just building my material and getting it sharper and sharper, and getting to the point where now I had like a tight hour of material.
And a lot of that was in that period.
Yeah, that was like where I really grew as a comedian, and I started working the road more and doing like all these different types of events and rooms. You're from Flint. I did a show in Inkster at a rec center there.
A rec center?
A rec center in Inkster. Yeah, it was crazy. How'd that go? It was awesome, honestly. I had a great time.
Yeah.
But it was fun. But they had like a teenage boxing match in like the room next to us. We were like in like a little like event, like nice little dining hall type of thing, and then they had like a gymnasium where they had like a boxing range, and it was like a youth boxing match, and they were playing like like jock jams.
Hell yeah.
And you could just hear that bumping through the wall the entire time. And then they had a pool that had been cemented over outside with a slide that went right into the cement. Like it was cemented into the thing.
Yeah, that'd be
crazy times.
That's a slide that goes right into the cement, like just if you went on it, you'd get injured type of slide.
Yeah, you'll go right into just cement. You just.
I like that.
Yeah,
kind of inviting you to do something stupid.
Yeah, 100%.
It makes you want to slide down.
Yeah,
the slide.
it was an unplayable. It was like you weren't able to play on it. It was like a little playground that you would get hurt if you played on. Yeah,
right outside the comedy show.
Exactly.
Yeah, and so. That was a lot of stuff like that then? A lot of shows just ran in spots,
just ran in different
up.
places. A lot of VFWs, a lot of beer, a lot of VFWs, a lot of like clubhouse type of things, like Elks Lodge types of things.
Yeah.
Around Michigan, a lot of just dive bars, a lot of breweries. I've been in a lot of breweries.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just stuff around Michigan, and that's just, that's just doing 30 to 40 minutes in between like a room full of like 50 people, and like you're in a small town, and you're the only thing happening in that town that night,
Yeah, because
I've done a lot of bowling alleys too.
With what you were saying, bowling alleys. Yeah. Someone told me it was Kat Diaz. She told me that those suburban bowling alley gigs around here actually they have an appeal to them.
Yeah, there's a weird thing with bowling and comedy.
I guess so.
I opened for John Caparulo in a bowling alley. He was pissed the fuck off when he found out it was a bowling alley. He was so angry.
Did it go well though?
Yeah, it was great. He was just like they literally set up like a little stage right in front of the lanes.
Yeah.
So the lanes was like the backdrop.
That's crazy.
And then just put a bunch of chairs, and he was like, "I'm fucking killing on lane 13." Like,
what is this madness? When did this begin? Like, who was the first fucking crazy person that thought, let's throw a show here?
Yeah, there's a lot of carny people that are involved in comedy.
Yeah.
And that's really who it is. It's just carnies that were like, what weird room space can we just do a comedy show in?
Yeah, there is some fun stuff you could do though. See, like comedy, I think they even do like music at some of these bowling alleys.
Yeah.
I think like you can. It's almost it is kind of like a carny like novel appeal in this strange way.
Because it's someone that's already hanging out at that bowling alley a lot. So you're already dealing with a weird person who's just hanging out at a bowling alley.
The guy who brings his own ball and gets pissed if the person next to him bowls at the same time as him. Like, takes this shit super serious.
Yeah, people that bring their own ball to a bowling alley should be on the list, I think. I don't know what for. We should be keeping track of them.
I remember I went on a date with this girl, and we went to a bowling alley. And I remember the guy next to us was like telling her, like, he was getting upset because she was bowling at the same time as him, and she was trying to, like, I wasn't sure what to do because I wanted to keep the peace, but at the same time I agreed with her, like, this guy's a little obnoxious.
Yeah.
But she was not taking him seriously.
Yeah, nor should she. Fucking nerd getting heated over bowling.
Right.
Just calm down.
He's training, dude. It's between seasons right now, and he needs to get better.
It's my off season. I need to get better.
I always think about with bowling, like, what would a coach say to you? Like, what would a coach actually say?
Throw the ball.
Yeah, exactly.
Hey, I've got a great idea. Have you tried knocking all the pins down?
Yeah. Have you thought about maybe focusing more?
Try to focus more and then put all the pins on the ground.
See that middle pin? Aim there.
Aim there. An old trick from the 80s, my coach taught me. Hit the middle pin.
It's like if you had someone telling Sisyphus how to push the rock up the hill, like a coach training him.
Tried to get it to the top.
Keep pushing. Just tell him how to do the same shit
pushing.
over and over again.
Yeah.
Because, like,
with bowling, there's also chili cheese fries.
Yeah. So that would be a good thing. Like, hey, less chili cheese fries, more bowling.
More bowling.
Stop sipping your soda. You've actually been moving slower. I've been tracking you over the last 30 minutes. You're not moving as fast as you were.
I would like, now that we're talking about it, I do want to know the intricacies of bowling.
I think about that, dude, because
what's the different strategy? Yeah.
You know what? It's probably like all those like simple sports like that, like darts, like archery.
Oh,
like, you think they're just doing beanbag tossing.
Yeah, there's like a whole league for it.
Yeah.
I saw it on TV once. I was like, this is actually pretty engaging.
I saw they have fucking not
cornhole. That's the word.
Cornhole. Yeah, they have not real golf, but simulation golf
on
TV now, which to me is like, what?
Makes no sense.
What even is this?
Yeah.
But they have this, like, when they do putts, they do real putts. So I don't know if they switch out like the interior. So you actually have, like, they have to make it to the green and then they go to the real grass where the putting is. But before they do the putting, because I was thinking, how are they going to do putting? But they have real putting. But they have to hit it at the screen before that. I don't even understand how fake golf works.
Yeah.
To be honest with you. I don't get the dynamics of that.
Yeah, that's very post-ironic. Yeah.
Very post-ironic, dude. I agree with you. What you just said resonated with my soul. But it's just crazy. Like, what are the intricacies of that? How do you get really good at that? I mean, I guess it's like most things, like everything. It's like if you spend 1,000 hours on a video game, you'll learn. You ever like watch those speedrunning videos where people are trying to break speedrunning world records? There's this channel called Summoning Salt on YouTube.
Okay.
He's really good for this shit. He'll do the whole history of a world record. And like, you never really think about it. Like, all these exploits people have found for these games, they're finding throughout years and years and years of refining the speedrun. So it's like you're trying to get the absolute fastest way I can play this game. Yeah. And then 3 years into it, somebody figures out that they can go through this place 10 seconds faster.
Right.
And like then some other guy who has no life, he just plays this game, just figured out how to cut another 30 minutes off.
Yeah, just generations of people refining it and getting it to its absolute best.
And that's everything.
That's everything.
It's the same thing with somebody playing darts and bowling. Yeah. It's magic.
It's magic.
Dude, magic is cards. You see, like, you ever hear David Blaine talk about cards or like all these card magicians? Like, that's crazy.
Yeah.
The amount of time you can spend.
And stuff you can do. Yeah, you spend 10,000 hours just doing a move.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you learn how to, like, and you think that sounds crazy, but then you see them do it.
Yeah.
And it's fucking, that's magic in itself.
Yeah, it's insane.
If you can throw a card and then fucking have it land in the deck and, like, I can't even fucking break a deck properly, dude.
I did. That is something I learned how to do when I was a kid. I was like 10 or 15, 10 or 12, whatever. I was a kid, and I just spent like an hour just learning how to like shuffle a deck and then do the bridge thing, you know, where like you bend it and then it go.
Yep.
Yeah, I spent like an hour just doing that one day, and that's just a skill that's never left me.
Yeah.
it is crazy to think about the things that if you just spend if you just focus on it for just a specific amount of time, you'll just have all these crazy skills.
Yep.
Yeah, you can learn pretty much anything.
Yeah, I really think so. And I think it helps to think of things in that upward direction, like putting it in perspective again. Like when I think about podcasts, I think I want to do my number I put in my brain is 4,000. I want to do 4,000 podcasts.
Okay.
Because just the logic of that, like if every podcast is roughly 2.5 hours, boom, I hit my 10,000 hours.
There you go.
So I can say that, you know?
Yeah.
But even then, like, that's not including if I go do other people's podcasts or whatever. And even then you think about it, like, what even is podcasting? Like, what are we really doing right now?
Right.
I'm just talking to you.
Yeah.
But doing that is something you can get better at through doing it. And
that's
so
true.
if you really did 500 podcasts, you really do get so much better at it. And in turn, that feeds into all the other things you do.
And I'm sure, episode 145... you're better. You have like more nuances and skill and things maybe like you've picked up on versus episode 1.
Just like in comedy. Just like with the little things you figure out at open mics and the little things you figure out like at your first show. You're like, oh, that stuff that worked at all those open mics didn't really work here. Like, what the hell was that? All those like moments where you're disoriented pay off in the end because you figured things out. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like the first time you jerk off. you're just hitting it. You're like, what? I don't know how to... I've seen people do that. You're just punching yourself in the balls.
You've seen people do that?
That's what I did. You didn't do that?
No, I never punched myself. I was more of like a squeezer.
Squeezer, yeah, good squeeze. No, yeah, I didn't hit, but I definitely like did that a couple times. A little some pats,
love taps.
Some love taps.
Those are different.
Like I don't get what the point is, but like I remember you hear the term beating off, and I'm like, what? Where?
Imagine like a little kid like trying to smack his dick.
Don't imagine it, you fucking perv.
This feels okay.
Yeah, this feels okay.
Is this it?
Is this it?
Is this what I'm supposed to do?
Is this what I'm supposed to do?
He just does that shit when he's by himself.
Yeah.
No one really tells you how to do it.
No.
That's what's so funny about it. Every
like,
little kid
we at least like now like every generation now just has insane access to porn.
Yeah.
That they can just learn whatever they need to learn online. Which I don't know if is a good thing. But just think about in the early 1900s, how did you figure out how to do that stuff? Nobody told you. Nobody sat you down and told you how to do it.
Most likely, if you did know, it was because like someone told you can't. Like someone told you it was bad.
Someone told you to stop doing it.
And you're like, doing what?
Yeah, you did it by accident, and someone was like, "Fucking knock it off."
Yeah, God said you can't do that, right?
Yeah.
You're like, wait, what?
Or you went to church and then they showed you how to do it.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, priest showed you how to do it.
Gave you personal lessons.
Yeah, gave you that one-on-one. Yeah, that's how it happened.
Yeah. Call that a confessional, baby.
Confessional, little master class.
Yeah. Yeah, dude. I mean, like, I don't know. I just feel like, how do you even and how do you know you're good at it? How do you know you're good at jerking off? I feel like I'm not even good at it sometimes.
I mean, I feel like if you're getting to the end, you're pretty good at it.
Yeah, but I feel like I don't pace myself. I feel like I don't have any technique at all sometimes.
Yeah, I guess what defines good,
Well, you're saying...
where's what's the rubric for...
You're being purely hedonistic about this. You're saying it's purely about pleasure? Well, I'm saying there's a skill that I could have.
No, for sure, yeah. Like, definitely, there's ways you can measure it, like length of time.
Exactly.
Energy you've put into it. Are you being vigorous or like do you have to really get in there? Inspiration, how much time is it taking you to really get in the mindset to get you where you need to go?
I'm good at that.
Yeah. Technique, just general technique. Wrist to action.
See, that's where I lack, I feel like.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like there's no class, there's no technique. It's kind of like I'm just like a brute animal just going for...
It's freeform jazz. You're just kind of... There's no real... There's no real tempo. You're just kind of...
No, because that's implying that I have any sort of... I'm saying like a caveman.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it's just like... And it shouldn't be like that. Yeah. I should be making
romantic.
Love to myself.
Yeah. Light a couple candles.
Take myself on a date.
Take yourself on a date.
I've never heard that, but I've heard people say that.
Yeah.
Like if you're going to jerk off, maybe you should take yourself on a date first.
That's hilarious. I've heard that you should take yourself out on a date. That's more just for mental health things.
Nah, dude, before you fuck yourself.
Before you fuck yourself. Yeah. That's really fun. That probably actually would be a really nice day, though.
Wouldn't it?
Yeah, to go to the park, just walk around on a nice day. Go see a movie, go have a nice meal, and then come home, light a couple candles, get the baby oil, put on a movie, you know.
Turn on Netflix.
Yeah, Brazzers.
wait about 20 minutes into the movie.
Yeah, wait about 20 minutes in. All right.
It's so funny because it would probably have the same effect as a good date. It would probably be like dating yourself.
Yeah, but that sounds like a really nice Saturday, though, doesn't it?
It
like,
does.
I've had way worse days.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm going to start taking myself out more.
Yeah, you got to take yourself out, you know?
Yeah. And if somebody, like, if I ever feel like someone needs spiritual enlightenment and they need to feel better, I'll just tell them, go fuck yourself.
Go fuck yourself. And I mean that wholeheartedly.
I'll mean it in a good way.
Yeah.
They won't understand.
Hey, bud, go fuck yourself.
Literally.
Hey.
I'll be like, take yourself on a date and go fuck yourself.
Hey, you know what, bud? You should go fuck yourself.
It's kind of sweet when we
It is
put it
really
that
sweet.
way.
Yeah.
Like it's
you should love yourself. That is the ultimate self-love, you know? Is go fuck yourself.
It kind of is, though.
Yeah.
Kind of is, because, like, in the end, what is life all about, okay? Life is all about making sure that you live it to the fullest.
Life is all about doing the do.
Doing the do. And if you were doing the do, you were sipping the do, and you were doing it true, you would be jerking off your wiener.
You'd be doing you.
You'd be doing you.
You got to do the do. You got to do you.
Gotta do. Yeah, dude. Mountain Dew, if they don't fucking watch this and want me, I'm going to be really confused.
If they do watch this, you'll get a cease and desist for sure.
Don't say that ever again.
Please stop talking about us.
You ever see like some of Tim Dillon's earlier ad reads?
Oh, yeah. This is my favorite.
Norm Macdonald was great with ad reads, and that like it was amazing that he kept the people around. I think Tim Dillon also did that really well. Like, that's one of my goals is like I want to just be able to like totally shit on a company and have them still want me to talk about them.
Bill Burr was good with that too.
Yeah.
Cherries, berries. Cherries, berries. They want me to. It was free. That's nice. And like that happened with like all of his sponsors when he first had his podcast, the Monday Morning Podcast.
Yeah,
it was on SoundCloud. That's how early his podcast was.
I had no idea.
Yeah, and it was before he was really as big as he is now. But yeah, all of his sponsors, he would kind of make jokes about them and shit on their ad reads that they would give him. And then at first they would be pissed off and be like, "Hey man, what the fuck?" and want to drop them. But then they would get all this revenue and stuff from him, and be like, "Okay, yeah, no, we want you." Yeah, because he would make the ad reads funny, you know, by making fun of the company.
And that actually makes the company seem appealing.
Yeah, it makes the company seem cool. Like, oh, they're letting him fuck with them, you know, and then it makes people want to buy their product.
In a post-ironic society.
Yeah, in a post-ironic society.
Like I was saying, like I actually think all that shit we were talking about Mountain Dew in today's world, I think actually Mountain Dew would be like, you know what? Like, fuck it, dude. Like,
yeah. Yeah, you know what?
Who cares? Who cares? I mean, like, I want to get some wild sponsors, though. That's the real thing. Who could, like, sponsor you that'd be, like, so crazy I can't even believe? Like, condom companies. If I was sponsored by Trojan, wouldn't that be sick? Fucking sick?
That'd be fucking sick, yeah.
By the way, Ruse Official, when I tell you to go fuck yourself, when I say Ruse Radio tells you to go fuck yourself, I mean that literally.
Yeah.
And you should probably wear protection when you do so.
Yeah.
So you don't catch an STD.
You gotta get ribbed for his pleasure. Get a ribbed for her pleasure and flip it inside out.
Wow.
So that,
I like that.
you know.
Fuck that. Just fuck the condom.
Or they have just fuck the condom. Or they have like the what's that called? It's the really thin ones.
Oh yeah.
The super thin ones, you know. And easy mess up, easy cleanup, easy mess up.
That's what you would sell it on.
Yeah, the cleanup.
The cleanup.
Yeah, you would get like what's it called? Like cream, like icing thing. And you just shoot that into the condom. That's your ad read.
A live demonstration.
Yeah, live demonstration is just you just jerking off into a condom.
Yo. That actually would be like one of the wildest possible sponsors you could have if you were doing all that.
Yeah.
I got a dildo out.
Trojan would never do that, but there's probably some like shady condom company out there where it's like
yeah. Now that's the way.
They're probably you can't go name brand. You got to go. I don't even know of like Durex or something. You got to go Durex condoms.
Yeah. Durex.
Or whatever ones they sell in the bathroom at a gas station.
Mm-hmm.
Like the quarter condoms.
I need to start doing my research.
Yeah. You got to get those guys to sponsor you.
Just call them, be like, listen,
I've got your target audience by the balls.
Nobody knows single loners like comedy fans.
Yeah.
Okay.
And the best part about it is that instead of like a QR code, you'd have to put like directions to a gas station.
Yeah.
On the screen, you'll find the address for a mobile gas station where you can buy their condoms because they don't have a website. They only exist in those receptacles in the bathroom of a mobile.
That's the best one ever.
Yeah. You have to get in your car and drive to this gas station and go to the bathroom.
Yeah. It's crazy because those companies are real. Like, they only exist there.
Yeah.
That actually might be like a good like side hustle. Now I think about it. Just make some somebody asks what you do. I just make condoms.
I make condoms. I make $10 a year putting condoms in bathrooms.
Yeah. You might think that I'm just some guy, but I actually might have put a condom on you once or twice, you know?
Yeah. You ever a girl ever bust out a banana flavored condom on you? That was me.
I changed your life.
I changed your life.
Dude, you know what though? Flavored condoms. Who invented that? What kind of person? So when I think about it, like, it makes sense if you're thinking blowjobs, but like, anything beyond that? Like, was there any purpose of a flavored condom beyond that?
No, it's got to be just blowjobs. Like, and it's like probably for like sex workers, honestly.
Yeah.
They probably want to use those instead of, because they're the ones who are sucking dicks with condoms on.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're not sucking dicks.
One of them said, "What if this tastes like lemon or like blueberries?"
Yeah, you got to think about who the audience is. You know,
it was them.
It's them. They're the ones who would have asked for that.
That's a great.
And they're the ones who are probably getting
the benefits.
Or they're the ones who are probably buying condoms from a gas station, or guys are buying condoms from a gas station because they just picked up a hooker.
They're like, "Get the banana one."
And then she's like, and he was hoping to go raw, and she's like, "No, go get a fucking condom." And then he goes to the gas station, gets a blueberry one. She's like, "All right, I'll take $5 off for you because you're sweet." I like blueberry.
Shout out Wendy from Breaking Bad, right?
Hey, Wendy.
You ever watch Breaking Bad?
Yeah.
I mean, you watch Better Call Saul, you must have watched Breaking Bad. Yeah, dude. That's like, I haven't watched too many shows all the way through, but like that one I think spoiled all the rest of the shows for me because it was that good. I mean, it's sad because people nowadays think like Breaking Bad, that's just that overrated show. It's like, no, it's actually really the best show of all time. I think Vince Gilligan is like a genius. He's doing a show with Rhea Seehorn. They're doing another show, but it's in the works right now. I think it comes out like the end of this year, maybe next year. Let's see if it comes out before GTA 6.
You can do it somewhere other than Albuquerque.
I think it is set in Albuquerque.
Yeah,
to be honest,
it does everything in fucking Albuquerque.
I think so.
Yeah,
but I think that it's the first time they're doing anything other than Breaking Bad and all that. It's a whole different universe. That's cool. Finally. I mean, really, Vince Gilligan was the X-Files, and then it was Breaking Bad. So which is X-Files,
not Albuquerque, but you know, it's adjacent because they
probably spent
a lot of time in like where did the UFO crash?
New Mexico.
Roswell. Yeah,
but it was New
Mexico.
Yeah.
New Mexico.
I know that Breaking Bad was originally supposed to be in California, but it was like some like legal thing.
Yeah, California is really hard to like shoot stuff in. Like, even it's so weird because Hollywood is based out of there because of like.
That's why I would imagine that would 50s. Be why.
But yeah, it's so hard to shoot stuff there because there's so many like you have to pay off so many people to do it. You have to fill out all these different forms and everything just to get it zoned and like pay all these different fees in order to shoot stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, everyone goes to like New Mexico or Arizona or up to Canada to shoot stuff. And there's like all these different labor unions and stuff too that are out there that like they have all these restrictions and like rules that you have to follow if you want to shoot it in California.
Yeah.
It's like, where was Rust, the one that Alec Baldwin where he shot someone? I think that was like Arizona.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
Was a Western though too.
Yeah.
But even then, I guess you could shoot a Western in California. Yeah, you could still do that.
Yeah, that entire area looks all the fucking same.
That entire stretch of the country.
Yeah.
It's all just desert wasteland.
Yeah.
When it comes down to it.
Yeah, it's all just Fallout 4.
Yeah. I haven't been to the South too much, but I know that it must be like, to be in a secluded area in the South, it's just crazy how big the country even is, to put that in perspective. Because like, it's being somewhere in a major city. I think people lose sight of that a lot. You'd forget. Like, most of the country is nothing like this.
The majority of the country is nothing, period.
Nothing at all.
Yeah, it's just hundreds of miles of just land.
Yeah.
And it's just like...
And like, sure, like, California's a little bit on its own, but then you go up to, like, what is it, northeast, southwest, northwestern United States, where it's like you're in the corner of past all the mountains.
Yeah.
So the mountains kind of split you up from everything else. It's like if you went from California, you go up. Now you're in like the corner of everything where there's, again, not really too much over there.
Yeah.
There's not,
like,
if you lived in the mountain states, there's not much going on.
If you were to drive from like here, like in Rogers Park, to like the south side of Chicago, you would drive past more people than if you were to drive the entire state of like North Dakota.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it's like their population is insanely small. Like those states, like North Dakota, South Dakota, Nebraska, it's just nothing but nobody. There's just nothing but fields forever.
Yeah,
that's where all the nukes are.
Yeah,
for that reason.
Yeah, and it's like, you know, that whole entire lifestyle is so different. That's probably why it's so cheap to film there, because they're like, please, like, we need money. You can come here whenever. You're telling me you're gonna pay me how much to just shoot on this desert land I own?
Yeah, it's great.
Please do. Yeah. Probably works out for them. I wonder. So they probably don't shoot that much in California. Then that's what it is.
Really, not much. Yeah, they have sound studios. Or like for like TV stuff, they do what's it called? Like Warner Brothers has a studio. CBS has a studio, and then they've got in Culver City, Sony has one. Yeah, so those are like the three big studios, and there's like a couple small ones.
But those are all stages.
Yeah, like sound stages. So like what I did for a little bit is you could be a paid audience member, so you get paid to go be like an audience member for like these like all these like talent show type of shows, like World of Dance, America's Got Talent is one. I didn't do that one. What was another one? Ridiculousness was one where they had like a live audience. I got paid to watch Ridiculousness taped live. I did a Bill Nye show once.
Really? Was it that Netflix show he was doing?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, and so there's a lot of that type of stuff is being shot there. Stuff that has like live audience, and it's stuff that's really easy for the celebrities to just quick drive in. They can spend a day shooting all these episodes and get out. But like movies and stuff, a lot of it's shot outside of LA and like California.
How do they with those live audience things? Is it like a lot of guidance that they give you guys then? Like they would say like, hey, like, you know.
Yeah. So it starts off with first like they have a website, and they'll put out a listing saying we want people that look like this, dressed like in this type of style, no brands on your clothes or whatever, and show up at this time, and we'll pay you $20 an hour. So you show up, and then first you have to like get approved, like make sure you're dressed correctly and you don't look crazy, you know. And you're there for like you're there for a day, you know. And then they wrangle you. And then I did one at Universal, and like it's like at the park pretty much, because like the park like leans up against where the studios are, and so they put you on a bus, they drive you through the Universal Park, and then you're at the studios. They have you go in here, you sit in these stands, and then they have someone that comes out that's like a wrangler. It's usually like a comedian, somebody that's like, it's a good day job for comics out there. But yeah, they come up, they tell some jokes, they make people laugh, and they go, okay, here's what we're gonna do. You know, when you see this sign, make sure you give all your energy. Let's do an example of that right now. Everyone, just make as much noise as you fucking can, like, you know. And then everyone, and they try to make it fun, you know.
Okay.
It's the similar job to being like a host of a show, you know.
That's what I would have expected. Yeah. Something like that. Yeah. Like somebody to like beef them up for real quick.
Someone to get the energy going. You know, they do like, there's times where they'll do like giveaways and stuff. But the funny thing is, there's people who pay to go to be audience members for those types of shows. So they sell tickets to be audience members, and on the back end, they're also secretly like hiring people to be audience members.
Yeah,
it's insane. It's such a racket.
Wow. Yeah. I mean, like, The Price is Right. Those game shows are different. So game shows.
The Price is Right is one of them. They use SRO, standing room only.
Really?
That's the name of the company. Yeah. There's people that will pay to go be audience members and like get on wait lists and stuff. And there's also people that are getting paid to be audience members.
Wow.
And they have a deal with Price is Right. The deal is that if you get picked for like that show or Let's Make a Deal or any of those like game shows, if you get picked, you don't get paid by SRO anymore. You're now Like you basically you're just disconnected. Like you pretend like you never talked to them. Like,
wow.
Yeah. Like if you get picked, then you don't get paid by SRO because you could potentially win a lot more money. Yeah.
That's crazy. But it also kind of covers them too.
Yeah.
I mean, because then like it's not like you see this person who gets picked on all these different shows because they keep putting them on each show.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. And it's like, there's probably some weird rule or law in there that they can't give someone winnings if they were like paid or something like that.
I thought you were gonna say like if they get picked, they don't even get the money. That would have been crazy.
I wouldn't be surprised. Like I said,
we get 50%.
Everyone's constantly getting fucked out there.
Yeah,
and everyone everything's just a racket out there. It really is.
Yeah,
and it's just like I wouldn't be surprised if they tried to pull some bullshit like that of like anything you win, we get a cut. You know.
I just don't. Oh my God, that's so crazy that they would have a double industry where it's like the way because they could book all of those shows with these. You would be giving more people in LA jobs if you just booked the show with people in LA and paid all of them. It would actually be better for everyone.
Yeah, it's just more expensive.
But it's more expensive. Yeah. And like one thing I've noticed, it's like every single industry that exists, but like the restaurant industry. It's, dude, fucking one thing that drives me so nuts. You just can't escape it. Anywhere you go, every single restaurant, you should not have to tip out a busser. You should not have to tip out a bartender if you're the server because that's the restaurant's job to pay them, not you. Yeah. And so it's like, say a customer doesn't tip me. Now I technically lose money because I owe 3% of whatever the fuck you ordered and you didn't tip me. So now you spent $100. I owe $3 to these other people.
Jesus.
It's so stupid to me.
Yeah, that's really dumb.
But that's how industries
tipping
end up working.
Shouldn't be a thing just to begin with, you know?
Yeah, there's a whole bunch of problems.
Yeah, waiters shouldn't have to rely on tips for their income.
Yeah. I mean, in a way, I like the way the system is because I think if you work at a good enough place, you end up actually making more money. So it actually
you can make
is
more
good.
Money. Yeah,
if you're a good server,
a flawed system.
It's just a flawed system. Yeah, and that's you can't really blame people for not believing in it either. Like, other countries don't even do it.
Yeah,
but if you have that system, don't then take the server's money and make them pay. Because that's what the whole thing is. The restaurant doesn't want to pay the server.
Yeah.
The restaurant doesn't want to pay anybody.
Yeah.
And so they're actually taking money away from the employees and giving that to the other employees.
Yeah.
And that's probably all of LA.
It's the opposite of redistribution of wealth.
And what's so counterintuitive is everybody could win. You could have a system where everybody wins, but instead it becomes we're making money, but we're not making enough. Someone's always got to be getting a leg up. Someone's always got to be doing a little bit better than you. Yeah.
It's not enough for us both to win. It's me. We can both win, but I have to win more than you.
Yeah, I have to win significantly more than you.
Significantly more than you.
Yeah, it has to be obvious that I am the dude and you suck ass.
Yeah. It's not enough to have $1 billion. You have to have $100 billion.
Yeah. I mean, again, like with the way modern society is, the beauty of it, really, if you wanted to boil it down to a few problems, it's probably like cell phones and money. It's probably like technology and money. Those two things have just exponentially fucking went like this.
Made us awful people.
Yeah.
That and like our food being poisoned. Back to that.
But that kind of comes from money.
Yeah.
It really kind of comes from money
and technology.
A little bit, yes, and technology. Yeah, especially like if you think about like fucking like I was saying fruits being fucking what do we say? Guido fruits?
Guido fruits. BBL bananas.
Yeah, BBL bananas.
Yeah.
But the fact that those exist, like that is technology. It's those two things. Has science gone too far? You remember those memes?
Yeah. Science gone too far.
But it kind of did, dude.
Yeah.
Like I think what I always think about with science and like with those things, I always think like the problem is scientists are exactly the people who wouldn't stop to think like, is this a bad idea? Yeah. They're not the people to think that. They're the people to think, could you do this?
Yeah, could you do this? And if the answer is yes, like fucking let's go then.
Let's see, bro.
Let's see. Let's find out.
Can we create?
We never stop to think if we should.
Yeah. Well, the fact that we create viruses in labs alone is fucking crazy, dude.
Yeah.
Why would you do
Stop that.
Just don't do that.
Yeah.
It's not even like complicated. It's a bipartisan issue.
Oh, I created something that could just kill millions of people. Knock it off.
I'm doing it so other people won't do it. You don't understand.
Yeah.
I'm doing it so those guys won't do it first.
Yeah, here, catch.
It's just so crazy. But it's exactly it. It's like if a scientist could do it, they would. They'd be like, well, maybe you could bioengineer something that could fucking murder me in 3 minutes rather than 10.
Yeah, exactly.
Let's see if that's possible. It's just so wild because, like, in my mind, if you have technology becoming this amazing, beautiful thing, that should be like bringing us together, making us make awesome things. We should have a train system in America that is just as good as the planes. Well, at least as the planes were 10 years ago.
Yeah, no, the public transit system in America is disgusting.
It's crazy.
It's just laughable. It's like you look at the Euro-Rail and stuff like that. And it's like it's so easy to travel Europe, but it's so hard to travel America.
And we just don't invest in it.
Yeah, we don't care. We don't.
All we had to do.
Yeah.
We just have to put like a good...
Instead, we have nonstick pans. That's what we did with our engineers. Created nonstick pans who, use PFAS chemicals to create nonstick pans.
That's right.
And they dump it in our water supply.
Yeah.
And then we cook with it, too.
Yeah, I heard that like the nonstick pans, too, it's like something with... like the metals come off of the nonstick pans way easier than like a regular pan.
Yeah, something like that, yeah.
I can't remember, because now it's all microplastics. That's the other thing that's turning us into mutants.
We're getting microplastics for all the fucking plastic bottles.
Dude.
And the cards and,
It's impossible.
It's impossible.
It's actually, like, how I was saying it's possible to be a good parent? It's possible to be a good human. It's actually impossible. Like, if you were to try to scale it and to say, like, what is a good human, you could never actually be good. There's just nothing.
No.
In the modern world, there's literally nothing. You can't drink out of a bottled water.
Yeah.
You can't do that. It's like it just gets more and more narrow over time. Yeah. But again, like what I say, it was politics, and what was the other one I say it was? The other bad thing?
Oh, just money and technology.
Yeah, because money, dude. Money's the other thing. Charging for water. The fact that you pay for water at all.
It's insane.
Like, why? Why? We just live in a strange world where everything costs money. Like, where if I fucking... Like, bruh, let me think of something that costs money that shouldn't cost money.
The weather service, Weather Channel.
The Weather Channel.
Yeah.
Everyone should just have... At this point, everyone should just have cell service.
Yeah,
everyone should just have a cell phone and have cell service.
Yeah, and I think that's something that Musk was trying to do with Starlink, but I think he's still charging people for it.
Yeah.
But
it could work.
Yeah, I watched something about like the Weather Channel, about how like they're basically just using the information that's already provided that we pay for, because there's like a government weather service.
But then there's all these independent people who
like the
interpret it.
Weather Channel and like these other companies and stuff, and they make you pay and like subscribe to be a part of like these services, and people do, and like it's so weird, and they're doing is taking the data from like the federal agencies that we have already set up, and then just presenting it as like a private thing, and then selling ad space on it. Yeah, so it's like anybody could create their own Weather Channel.
Dude.
And then sell ad space on it. Cause
another good side hustle.
It's the same thing with the radio waves. People will take a radio wave and then put their station on it and then sell ad space on it. But that's like federally funded. That's stuff that we're paying for. Those are our radio waves.
Well, I guess that makes sense.
Yeah.
I never really thought about that with so it's the radio waves.
Like you're listening to advertise, like it's the radio towers and stuff like that, and the radio waves. They're basically paying. They pay us, they pay the government to use the radio frequency, and then they advertise on it, and so they sell this ad space, so they profit off of the waves that we're basically renting out to them.
Oh.
Yeah, and that's like what the Weather Channel does too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like a pyramid scheme almost.
It's a pyramid scheme, exactly.
You're like paying upwards.
Yeah.
Always.
Yeah, and then they sell products on it, and.
Yeah, because the advertiser's paying you and you're paying the government, but you're both paying the government in the end.
Yeah, and then you're paying taxes on them.
Yeah. The weather is an interesting one because I don't even know. Like, I wonder how hard it would be to get the access to their information.
It's on like a public website. It's
right.
Yeah, it's like the same website. It's like the same way you would get. I think there's. I don't even know what the name of the agency is, but there's like a website where you could go to just get the weather from there, and there's no like ads or anything like that, and it's just the government reporting the weather.
Yeah,
if that's their job.
Wow, I didn't know that we
and
paid tax dollars for them to tell us what the weather is.
They're using all the weather information, the radars and stuff like that. That's all government equipment that they're leasing, and like they're basically paying for the data. They're getting the data and then just presenting it to us and making us pay for it.
Yeah. Well, okay, but how about this though? Because wouldn't it still be the case that if you're going to analyze the data, you're paying the person who's analyzing it? Like if you're the meteorologist, the true thing that makes you the meteorologist.
The government has their own meteorologists that analyze it.
And that's why like 90% of them are wrong, because everybody's analyzing it, and so anybody could be wrong.
Oh, yeah. Well, like the weather's like an example of just like the weather's always changing.
Exactly. So when you're analyzing, you're just looking at the data. Yeah.
It really is a dumb thing to even try to predict. But the fact that people are paying...
right. They're actually all magicians.
Yeah.
They're secretly magicians.
The fact that people are paying for like weather services or whatever is insane to me.
That is crazy.
Yeah. And it's something that our government invested in. It's like, I get it. It's good to know when tornadoes are coming. And that's really why we set up all those systems, is to know when hurricanes, tornadoes, that type of stuff. But yeah, the fact that someone's packaging it as its own service and like selling that to like cable companies and like selling ad space on a website for it, which is weird. It's like water.
Yeah. It's not a bad idea in our post-ironic society. Maybe you could be like the weather channel. Like everybody knows you're not really the weather channel.
Be the fake weather channel.
Be the weather channel.
Yeah, that would be funny.
Just constantly say the wrong shit.
The wrong weather. Yeah. Whatever the real weather is, you say the opposite.
You could be like called realweather.com.
Yeah, realweather.com. I like that. Yeah. There's a blizzard in August.
It's going to be a blizzard tomorrow. Everybody put on your snow gloves. If you just do that enough times, you're bound to gain traction.
Oh, yeah.
People will be like, it would be stupid at first, but I just know it would work.
It would be stupid because then, it would work because enough people would start following it tking it's like the real weather.
It's going to snow in Texas.
Yeah. Like, oh my God.
It's got a bunch of boomers freaking out.
Yeah. There's a hurricane in Montana. Yeah.
You could spread. That would be the perfect misinformation, dude.
Well, that's the thing is you have to do the real weather to get credibility, and then you got to heel turn. You got to do
the first 4 days right.
Yeah. You got to spend the first like year or two doing the real weather and gaining credibility within the communities, and then you do a heel turn and you start giving them fake weather reports.
Yeah, you know that there is that is a thing at the very least where the weather industry has also been sensationalized just like everything else. So now if it's just going to be cold tomorrow, they're going to tell you it's going to be the coldest day of the year because that gets more clicks as an article than if they just said it's going to be cold tomorrow.
It's not enough to say that it's going to be like, -5. Now it's going
to be a heat wave.
Yeah, it's going
to be a blizzard. It's going to be an Arctic
snowpocalypse.
Snowpocalypse.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Snowpocalypse. That's what they always say. Or
that's a new one.
And what's it called? A cyclone bomb or something is what they say.
Cyclone bomb?
I've heard that before, like with winter.
Fucking Megatron.
Yeah. Yeah, you'll hear that term thrown around when there's like snowstorms and stuff. Yeah, it's weird.
Polar freeze.
Polar freeze.
They'll throw out their buzzwords. You gotta have the buzzwords in there.
Yeah.
But it's never anything too crazy, unless it actually is. Sometimes it is.
And all that is for is just because how do we keep eyeballs on this screen so that we can sell ad space?
Which is weather.
Yeah, weather.
Weather.
And it's really such a simple topic. It's really such a simple idea of just like, what do people go to when it's small talk? What are people most interested in?
Yeah.
At like the surface level, and it's always the fucking weather. It's the first thing it's the first thing we talked about when I got here. It's a beautiful day.
That is a
beautiful. Oh, the weather's gonna change probably tomorrow.
I pull that one out a lot.
Yeah, everyone does. It's such an easy go-to, and it's a thing that we're always kind of thinking about. What's the weather gonna be?
Yeah.
How do I plan my life around the weather?
Yeah.
And it's such a simple thing to just keep eyeballs on a screen so that you can sell ads for fucking Cheetos.
Mountain Dew.
Yeah, you gotta do the do.
Do the do, baby. Do the do. And also, I'll tell you if there's a tornado tomorrow. How about that?
Yeah.
You know? That's a good business relationship.
Ask
right
your
there.
mom if there's a tornado tomorrow.
Hey! I'm the evil weatherman. I turned heel a couple years ago, right?
The evil weatherman.
Fucking people's moms and shit.
The only hurricane around here is your mom's box.
You know what? That would be fucking sick, though. You're totally normal for so long. You just start saying shit like that.
Yeah.
It's like, whoa!
Tomorrow will be flooding at your aunt's house.
Wait a minute, dude.
Flood warning.
It made me just think now, too, like, we were saying people get really obsessed with shit and really good at shit. That's kind of simple.
Yeah.
Like, imagine you're the guy who's obsessed with the fucking weather, dude.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, it'd actually probably be stressful to talk to you, probably.
Yeah.
You'd be like, dude, hey, it's nice out. You'd be like, no, it's not. You think it's nice. You've seen the air quality?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, there are people who know the air quality numbers right now off the top of their head. You could ask them, what's the air quality right now? They'll rattle it off. Yeah. I don't even know what the measurement is for it.
They just started showing it on my phone like within the last 2 years, and I'm like, this is a thing that is
people
real?
are tracking.
Yeah.
I guess that makes sense. There is a quality level of it. I don't know.
That's another one of the things that's going to turn us into super mutants is the fucking poison in the air.
Yeah, the
probably.
poison in the air.
Fucking when a train falls over and chemicals leak and we all just grow another bone or something.
Yeah, that was just Ohio. That's fine.
It's fine.
Yeah,
we're far enough.
They're
away.
already mutants.
I know an Ohioaner too.
Yeah,
that's where Jake Paul is from. The Paul
yeah,
brothers.
there you go. Yeah,
there you go.
Yeah,
was that before or after a chemical leak? That's the question. You know.
Yeah, definitely before and after and during.
During.
Ohio is just one giant chemical leak.
Yeah,
that's really all Ohio is. It's a chemical leak that Michigan is having.
But you know what? At least they have Cedar Point.
Yeah, exactly. Hey, we got Michigan's Adventure. All right.
Six Flags.
I've never been to Six Flags.
That's another good one.
Yeah,
I haven't been.
As a big guy, I don't go to amusement parks very much.
Roller coasters scare me.
Yeah, same.
They scare the shit out of me. They're one of the few things I think about that. I'm like, I'm good.
I'm good on that.
I don't need that in my life. I'm not even interested.
Yeah, I went on a couple because that's like, you get bullied into. Well, you know, your family's like, no, it'll be great. You know, don't just sit here and enjoy yourself. Go on this roller coaster.
You seem to be having a great time.
Yeah, like, what, are you just going to stay down here? Yeah, I would love to do that. That sounds great. I'll go get a corn dog. You guys enjoy. No, I want to wait in line so I can just have an awful 30 seconds.
Yeah. I don't get it. I
get vertigo easily, so I'm like, I do not like that.
You don't. Yeah. I mean, I just don't even. So they at the it's not an amusement park, but maybe it is those things that comes town to town.
Carnival.
Yeah. So the local carnival, the local fair. Yeah, it was called Hometown Days where I'm from, and so they would have that, and like there's this thing called the zipper. I'm sure a lot of people know what that is. Where you're in it, it's like little cages, and it's all this big long vertical shape, and they're all aligned along that thing, and then that thing spins, and then each seat spins. I've been in that before, but I cannot keep my eyes open.
Yeah, no.
Like just the fact that I'm like upside down and heading towards the earth right now, I don't need to do all that.
Yeah, no.
I don't need my body to be thrown around.
Yeah.
Bro, I'm safe.
Yeah.
I'm safe right here.
I mean, an elephant ear over here, dude.
What's up with
I'm getting freshly squeezed lemonade.
Yeah. Isn't that what this place is all about?
Yeah.
I'll do those little kiddie coasters.
Yeah.
I like those.
Like, yeah, it looks like a dragon.
Yeah. I just go around a
or like the really big slide where you like get on a burlap sack.
That's the shit.
Yeah, and you go down.
That's fun for all ages.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. I mean, like, those are the rides you can actually trust at those places, too.
Yeah.
Just the fact that they set them up in a day and it's all set up by illegal people who, like, just need money.
Yeah. I'm surprised there's not more accidents. There probably is. They're just not reported.
Yeah.
There's got to be so many accidents that happen, you'd think, of just carnival rides.
You see them every now and then on social media. But not that often.
Yeah.
Not as often as you'd think. You'd think these things are falling apart left and right.
They've got to be, because everything's from the 80s. It's like...
Yeah. None of it's updated.
None of it's updated. There's no way they're really maintaining it that well.
Yeah.
Maybe replacing a screw or two here.
Maybe. Everyone's drunk.
Yeah, everyone's drunk. Everyone's high. Yeah.
Like, you literally, the guy who's operating it is slumped, you know? He's, like, waking up every 2 minutes.
Oh, yeah. You know. And it's fading in and out.
And we're just on bumper cars. Like, is he all right?
Yeah, is he going to be okay?
I mean, I love it. Again, American dream, I'm all for it. That's a business that I okay? A business that employs the outcast, gives them a reason. They only kill so many people, not too many.
And no important people either,
People who go to fairs.
There's no one important at a fair.
That is probably true.
Yeah.
You know what?
Even if you were important at some point, if you're at a fair, you're no longer important.
You just demoted yourself.
Yeah.
If I saw Mark Wahlberg at my local fair, I'd be like, what is he doing here? This is wrong. Is he like not getting jobs right now?
Yeah, is he okay?
Is he all right?
Are they putting a Wahlburger here?
Yeah, something's up. Looking around for prank cameras or something.
Shooting a movie.
Yeah. All right, man. It's been a beautiful time. It's always a good time here on Ruse Radio. If I didn't have to work, we could do a whole other hour, honestly. It's easy to do these things. You'll be back on sometime, I'm sure.
Yeah, I'd love to come back. Yeah.
Hell yeah. Before we get out of here, though, always a good idea to, one, let the people know where they can find you on the social medias. They got to be able to find you. If they spent this much time with you, they ought to look up where you are in the world. Keep track of your activities, start stalking you or something.
Yeah.
And the second thing is, you got a message for the kids at home. You got a final thing you want to send them home with. You put a little bow on top of the gift. This is your chance to do so. The floor is yours, sir.
Okay, very hot ones. I like that. Find me on Instagram, Cam Honeyager. It's Honeyyager. It's like honey badger without the B or the D. I'm on TikTok. I do shows all around the Midwest. Come find me. I would love to come to your town. I don't care what kind of venue you got. Just bring me out. We'll have a good time. Do the do. Do the do.
Do the do, baby. And with that being said, Ruse Radio. Clocking out.
Double down, competition couldn't help him to rock. Missed the whole time, holy fell through the flock. That's an ordinary miracle, wealth to the block. It's a balance in the character, this calm and collect. It's apparent his caricature is lost in the mess.